this is magical. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Have you guys seen anything like this? Who's here for the first time? Wow! Oh my God, it's a lot of people. Why did you come here? Your friends made you? Samosas? What else?
There's just Smileys in the back. There's just Smileys. My people are in the back.
Is Smiley's in the back? Yo, Smiley, shout out! Wow! I love the Smileys. Oh my God, Allah Khan, big time. Oh my God. Yeah, I know, I read. Like, how do you guys know about our secret stuff? I know stuff. So listen, I'm so happy everyone's here. People are still talking, so I'm just gonna make sounds, and then there are people in the back who are talking. Listen, this is a very incredible space for those of us who are here for the first time. This is it's a very raw space. It's a community, you know. When I was walking around here, I was seeing people I hadn't seen in 10, 20 years. I felt like a time capsule. People were coming up to me, reminding me of what I used to be like. People were telling me stories of when I first told them the idea of Muslim Writers Collective 8 years ago. I don't know where Salaf is. Salaf now writes for the New York Times, mashallah. She said, you came to me in 2015 and we sat at a coffee shop in Forest Hills and you told me this idea you had. And it sounded so crazy. And I was like, this is never going to happen, and you made it happen. And I was like, I'm so glad you finally came out and you believed in me. She's like, no, I didn't believe in you. I thought you were crazy. And I was like, thank you, because sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need that. I think this is a beautiful, a lot of people are still talking. I don't know how to, we need a teacher. Any teachers in the house? All right, teachers, how do we get people to stop talking? Georgia.
I do it again.
Do it.
I normally guilt people into, but they're 5 also, so they want me to love them. I don't think anybody's here.
No. This is the Georgia Halliday, ladies and gentlemen. Singer, songwriter, teacher, educator, artist. I call her the next Muslim Taylor Swift with a ukulele. Georgia Halliday. This is an incredible room, and a lot of people here for the first time. Muslim Writers Collective started with an idea that my sister and I had 8 years ago. My sister Aisha Irfan was a co-founder, and we were sitting at home in Brooklyn, and I told her, listen, I just moved. You guys ever heard this story, but these guys haven't, so I have to tell it to you. So they were like, I was like, I just moved back to New York. I don't have any friends. I don't know what to do with my life. I'm just out there walking by myself. I'm going on long drives. People like long drives? No one? Some people, 4 people. Everyone else doesn't have cars. Like, this is New York. We Uber. We go on long Uber drives. You guys are rich. Okay. So, it's okay. Mashallah. So, I was like, I just go on long drives and I go on long walks and I have no friends. And I want to meet creative people. I want to meet writers. I want to meet artists. I want to meet musicians. I want to meet comedians. Where do I go to find all these people? And she's like, they're everywhere. This is New York City. I was like, I'm not finding them. I want to find Muslims, people I can really connect with, relate with. I don't want to go to some random open mic on the Lower East Side and tell them about the time I ate biryani, and they're like, what's biryani? And they're like, give me chicken tikka masala. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to explain myself. I don't want to have to teach them how my name is pronounced. I don't want to have to whitewash aspects of my identity like many of us have to do. I just want a place where I can be real. And she said, everything you're describing sounds magical. Why don't you start it? I said, me start something? Did you hear what I told you? I have no friends. I like to go on long walks. I like to go on long drives. I like to go walk on romantic walks at the beach by myself. And you want me to start something? That sounds like a great idea. Now I see why you have 3 master's degrees, but you weren't studying. She's like, this is why you have no friends. Don't talk to me like that. And she said, listen, you just have to just do it. Just hold it, find a space. It's like, how do I find a space? I can barely find a parking space. She's like, no, just go call this number, they'll give you a space. I was like, okay, I have a space. She's like, now just find some people to come share stuff. I was like, you didn't listen, I don't have any friends. So she's like, you must have some friends. I was like, I really don't. So she said, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to come up with fake names of artists. That's what I did. Muslim Writers Collective started out as a fraud. Because I put out a call, I said, we're going to do a Muslim Muslim Rights Talk. It's going to be the hottest open mic. And we're going to have all these performers. And I made up fake names, like crazy names. And I came up with crazy names for the talks. I was like, we're going to have Fatima Abdul Hussein talk about Islamofascism versus Islamofascism, decolonizing my hijab. And then we're going to have like Omar Marzouk talk about Jupiter versus Jakarta. Where is my Qibla? Like, what does that even mean, you know? It was like the weirdest shit ever. And I just had like a list of like 10 crazy talks with 10 fake names. And all of a sudden people start texting me. They're like, listen, this Jupiter versus Jakarta talk sounds great. My nephew's into sci-fi. Who is this guy? Can I connect him with him? And people were like, Islamofascism and fascism. I love the alliteration. Who is that person? I was like, I came up with it in the shower. Like, what are you talking about? And then I had all of these fake talks, and then people start buying tickets. So now I'm like a real fraud. It's like Fire Festival 2013, where all of a sudden I've sold like 150 tickets. I have like $2,000 sitting in my Stripe account, and I have no real performers. I have a space, and I'm gonna have to just get up there and do a monologue for 2 hours and have all these personalities. It's gonna be the most embarrassing thing of my life. And then the most incredible thing happens. The night before the event, we had a sign-up form for people to sign up to perform. And I told them, listen, we have these 10 incredible fake performers. We might have 1 or 2 slots if you really want to get in next to Fatima Abdul Hussein and Omar Marzouk. And, we might have some slots for you. And the night before, all of these, I was refreshing the Google Sheets. I don't know if you guys did that. It's like back in the days, we click refresh. Now it like updates automatically. You kids don't know how hard we had it. We had to click refresh a lot. The nerdiest example of a refresh story is I would go on the homepage of the New York Times at 12:01 a.m. and start clicking refresh because I want to see what the next day's headlines were. I know, today it's like you get it in your phone, you get an alert. It's like, it's candy. It was hard back in the day. So the night before the event, real people started signing up to perform. I'm sitting there refreshing 1, 2, 3. All of a sudden, 15 real people had signed up to perform. I'm like, oh my God, this is actually happening. The next day I got up and I said, listen, I have an announcement. I'm so sorry. I know you all came for the Jupiter versus Jakarta talk. His grandmother died. He couldn't make it. Fatima Abdul Hussein went on ziyarah to Karbala. She cannot join us tonight. And it's like, I'm so sorry, but we have all of these 10 wonderful people. They're going to tell their stories. And the wildest thing is that I had been meeting so many people in New York before MWC. It's just, I thought they were kind of stuck up. I don't know if anyone had that experience. They were a little stuck up. They were always trying to play it cool. You know, like you met them and you're like, hey man, it was great meeting you. Can't wait to hang out again. They'd be like, it was okay. That's like Kareem Akhtar back there. That's private equity. No, he's great. We became friends. It's just all of these like people with very big egos, and they want to tell you where they work and where they went to school and all the CFA license. I don't even know what that stands for. And it's like I couldn't connect with people. And then we did MWC, and I noticed so many of the performers were those same people who I couldn't connect with. It was those same private equity people. It was those same medical students. It was the same corporate lawyers. And they got up there and they told real, raw stories. They talked about the time their grandmother passed away. They talked about the time they got their heart broken in Lisbon. They talked about their struggles and that time they got fired from their job. I was like, you guys are the same people. Why do you seem like human beings now? And it was magic. And I used to think it was because they changed. Really, it was I changed. God opened my eyes. I realized that humanity and people that brings us together. Storytelling is what brings us together. Being vulnerable and being intimate brings us together like nothing else can do. And our hope has always been to create one of the few and rare spaces where people can come together from all different walks of life and connect with each other, not based on their titles or not based on their degrees, really just bond with each other. And I see so many beautiful friendships in the room. I see smiles on faces. It really felt like a family reunion. I met so many people from so many walks of life. And they each came up to me and they reminded me of what I was like in the past. Really awkward, a lot more awkward than I am now. But it's incredible. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming out to Muslim Writers Collective. We have an incredible lineup. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out tonight. This is going to be incredible. And we have a list of performers. When you came in, you were supposed to sign your name on this list. If you did not do that, please find me and sign your name on this list. And we're going to get started. And again, I remind everyone, it's hard to get up on the stage. Like I make it seem effortless. I have butterflies in my stomach. I'm sweating. I don't even know where my hairbrush went. My hairbrush ended up over here. I was going to brush my hair, but it's hard. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I have a mirror. No, I have to do it because it's like your hair is important, you know? Speaking of hair, I'll tell you one quick anecdote. Speaking of hair, my dad always had amazing hair and he always had great game. I didn't know that. How I learned it is because he would tell me like every day of my life, he would say when I was your age, when I was a nerd in college, he would say when I was your age, I had the most incredible hair and girls in college would come up to me and just run their hands. He would do it. He would like obnoxious. They would run their hands through my hair. They would say, you have such beautiful hair. And he says, that was like what I wanted to pass on to you, son. I don't know where you went astray. Not only that, I was popular. I got elected president of the Drama Society at Punjab University in 1972 in the midst of a military insurrection in the country. 6,000 students came out to vote for me. He was like, I don't know where we went wrong. I don't know Dad either. But you know, I don't know why I told you that story. It's like, hair, because I got the hairbrush. Anyway, I'm going to go brush my hair. Thank you, everyone. Our first performer tonight. Everyone give a loud round of applause. Let's make this person feel welcome. People are going to come up, pour their hair out, make them feel loved, make them feel like they belong. Everyone, Nadia Dawood, who's going to talk about what is love. Nadia Dawood, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. And this is when I look around the room. Oh, Nadia Dawood, you made it. Oh my God. Nadia, welcome to
Assalamualaikum. Well, thank you everyone for coming. So this is my first time performing, so this piece that I wrote is something that was inspired by my journey, and I talk about different types of love in this piece, but it was specifically inspired by my journey of self-love, and I titled it, What is Love? What is love? The beautiful thing about love is that it is whatever you want it to be. Love is subjective. Love is love. It could come from things, or from others, or from yourself. It could appear at any time, in the quiet mornings, in the cool and breezy nights. It could appear anywhere, in front of the cozy and warm fireplace, in a room filled with laughter with your loved ones, in the grassy meadows, and an evening stroll at the park. Love is everywhere if you look hard enough, and everyone is deserving of letting the love in, including you. Love is love. Love from others is feeling seen and heard and understood. Love from others is not being judged. Love from others is the warm embrace of acceptance and compassion. Love from others is sacrifice. Love from others is feeling supported. Love from others can be soft and gentle, or rough and tough. Love from others has no boundaries. Love is love. Self-love is realizing that you are enough. Self-love is being overly compassionate with yourself. Self-love is accepting all parts of yourself, flaws and all. Self-love is forgiving yourself for your past mistakes and moving on with grace. Self-love is the only type of love that you can hold on to so tightly like a baby hand's grip. Self-love can be impenetrable because you are the guard. Do you love yourself? Take some time to work on it, because self-love is the most difficult type of love, but it is also the best type of love. It is the love that will stay with you forever. It is the love that allows you to be better loved by others. It is the love that allows you to better receive love from all that the world has to offer. So nourish it well. And then I want to close off. Can you guys still hear me? I want to close off with this verse from the Bible. So I know most of us in this room are Muslim, but we still continue to draw on the spiritual teachings from others. So I'd like to conclude with this verse that I think very beautifully encapsulates what love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. Book 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 to 8. So that's that. As I mentioned before, this piece was very much inspired by my journey of self-love, and I wanted to share this book that I recently read that talks a lot about self-love. It's called After the Rain, Gentle Reminders for Healing, Courage, and Self-Love. I'm just going to read the back of it. And the Soulful Companion celebrated self-care. Storyteller Alex L. delivers 15 lessons on navigating life's twists and turns with a clear mind, courageous spirit, and open heart. Part memoir, part guide, Elle shares stories from her own remarkable journey, from self-doubt to self-love, including illuminating reflections on loss, healing, love, acceptance, family, and more, plus affirmations and meditations for practicing these empowering lessons in your own life. After the Rain is a poignant roadmap to cultivating self-confidence so that you can enjoy all the beauty, love, and opportunity life has to offer. That's the book, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I just want to say thank you to Muslim Writers Collective for having this space. As I mentioned before, I am a first-time performer, and the fact that I even want to do this in this space is really big for me because I'm not very much an outgoing person. But I came here last month and I realized what type of supportive environment this was, so I did decide to perform. So thank you to Muslim Writers Collective, and thank you to all of you for listening and being patient with me. Thank you.
Everyone give it up. Nadia Dawood. That was incredible. That was incredible. Next up we have, so just some housekeeping announcements. Where's Uwais? We have Uwais in the house? Oh, good. Uwais is our timekeeper, so from now on Uwais is going to keep time. Listen, something crazy happened today, and I made a mistake. There was a sign-up form. I did not shut off the sign-up form, so people were still signing up until like 7 p.m. to perform. It kind of went crazy. So we have like 25 performers, so we might be here till 2 a.m. But that's why Uwais is going to save us. I know, right? I feel like I throw a party, I can't kick people out of the party, so I feel bad, but listen, there's going to be a lot of incredible performances. Uwais is going to ring the thing at 5 minutes. What's it going to sound like?
It's very quiet.
Try it.
No. Can I just hold this up when 5 minutes?
So what are you going to do? You're going to stand up and just like wave it around like Vanna White?
No, I'm just going to hold it like
You're going to hold it? Okay. Performers, Uwais is going to hold it when you hit 5 minutes, and at 6 minutes he's going to throw it at you, non-violently. So that's what's gonna happen. All right, next up we have Asif Ansari. Asif's submission is called The Apps. I don't know if he was inspired by me, but he might have been. I love the title, The Apps. Asif is leaving the city shortly, and this is his last performance. Asif's last stand. Welcome, Mr. Marisol.
Let's give it up for Aldan. Creating this space, hosting this, month after month, doing a good job. I can't help but look at the theme and think of Love is Blind, right? I mean, everyone's talking about it. If you've seen it, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you've seen Love is Blind. Raise them up high, high, high. All right, good. Anyone not raising your hand is probably single and not married. All right, they're male, but it's okay, bro. You're gonna watch season 3 with us. It's gonna be good, and it's gonna be a lot better than what you imagined, right? Shout out to Jugi and Hasib, right? 2 second-generation immigrants on there, right? I mean, I was kind of surprised, to be honest, because is that how bad it is? Is that how bad it is for us out there that we're resorting to go on to a reality TV show where you're going to end up getting married? And I remember what it was like for me back in the day. It was pretty hard. The apps had just come out, everything was new. And I can only imagine that it's probably a shit show now. Like,
Just stand a little.
alright, I'm gonna stand right here, okay? I can only imagine that it's probably a shit show now to try to get married. Like, at some point, you know, you start off on these apps, and the longer you stay on them, your thinking gets warped into what originally was important, starts to become not important, and what wasn't important is all of a sudden a deal breaker. Like, I was talking to this one girl, and she told me, I don't know how to swim. And I was like, well, that's gonna be a problem. Imagine if we're on vacation, I want to go swim with the dolphins, I want to go scuba diving, snorkeling, I gotta do that shit by myself? I already do shit by myself, that's why I'm trying to get married. So I canceled her, over not knowing how to swim. That's messed up. Messed up part is, I'm not even that good of a swimmer. I definitely would not pass a scuba certification course. My wife swims better than I do. But that's the way you start thinking, man. Like, it just gets warped up there because you're on there for too long. Like, I was hanging out with my wife and her friend Noor, and she tells me, you know, she's a little upset, and so she asks us for dating advice. And if any of you have married friends, you know how much we love to give dating advice after we're married. Because, you know, once we're married, we know it all, we know how to give it out, we know what to do, what not to do, and that's what I started doing, man. I was like, let me see your profile. Come on, let me see it. And so she whips it out, and I was like, Noor, why is there one busted-ass photo of you from Eid 6 years ago? You have bangs in this photo. You don't even look like this anymore. Where's your 4 standard photo lineup? Come on, you need one with your best Eid outfit, so, you know, putting your best foot forward. You need one in a foreign country so he knows you're not on a do not fly list. You need one with a group of friends so he knows you're not on the spectrum. And at the end, you need one with either a kid or a grandma so he knows you're family oriented. This is pretty standard. And why is your About Me section blank? You know what kind of dudes are gonna swipe on this? Dudes that ask you for your Snapchat and not your phone number. You know what I'm saying? Abhishek from Love is Blind. That's who's swiping on this, Noor. Come on. And I thought I had reached her, and you know, she kind of started to realize that, okay, maybe this isn't the best way to do it. And you know what she did? Nothing. She changed nothing. And then 6 months later, she got married. Through the apps, to a guy, and he's like a normal dude. And I was like, this makes no sense. I spend so much time on my profile, cultivating the top 4 photos that I could have, a little witty About Me box. I thought I would get married through the apps. But that's not how it worked out for me. I was like, what am I gonna do? I had to go get help from Iran. I don't know if any of you guys know where Iran is, but it stands for the International Rishta Auntie Network. And I didn't know how to get there. I didn't have directions, I didn't have a membership, so I only had to go talk to the only person that I knew who could get me in there, my mom. Right, my mom, she may be able to be like, okay, I gotta hook up, I'll let you in there. So one day I went home, and I sat down in front of her, looked her into her eyes, and told her, Ami, I'm ready to get married. She looked back at me, deep into my eyes, within my soul, and said, then go find her. Isn't that the most BS response ever? I thought this was how I was supposed to find her. But I didn't know what I was expecting. Like, I mean, I didn't know if she was gonna like pull a string and there's gonna be like confetti that comes down, balloons, she's gonna go to the closet and come back with like a horn. It's gonna be a It's like a shoddy horn that like signals to all the aunties in the Rishta network, I'm ready to get married, and they're like, oh, you hear that? That's the Ansari Shadi horn. He's ready, send him out. Send all the Rishtas. They start busting in through the window, coming in through the chimney. A big burly man busts in and throws his daughter at me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's what I'm saying, man. For some people, things like the apps work, like my friend Noor. She didn't try very hard, but she ended up getting married. People like our parents, they used the Rishta network, it worked out for them. Maybe it won't work out for me. And some people even resort to going on a reality TV show to figure it out. But I'll tell you what worked for me. I ended up tearing my ACL. I wouldn't like not recommend it, but it's an extremely painful process to find the person that you want to marry if that's the way you're going to go about it. You know, it did lead me to her, but do I wish it was easier? Like maybe we had met on an app or something? I don't know. But I will tell you this, if I met my wife's app, her profile on an app back then, I definitely would have swiped left. And many of you are going to think that's messed up. But I tell you this, and knowing this, because she showed me her profile after we got married. And you know what it was? One busted-ass photo from each 6-year-old and an empty about me section. I love you guys, thank you so much.
Everyone give it up, Asif Ansari. Wow. Asif Ansari. Listen, that was a lot better than Aziz Ansari. I don't know who that guy is. Asif Ansari in the house. Wow. Magic. Yeah, no, I've never interacted with that Iran network. I wish I need them to find me. But I did get close because I was in Pakistan 2 weeks ago. And Pakistan, anyone? 4 Pakistan? You guys are lying. 80% of this room is Pakistani. It's like, represent. There's a group called Muppies, Muslim Urban Professionals. I used to call them puppies because it's Pakistani urban professionals. Anyways, I was in Pakistan a few weeks ago, so I'm there with my mom. I'm giving a lot of talks at universities, teaching people about data science. My aunt, who I haven't seen in like 12 years, I dragged her to one of these talks at like a big university. My uncle is there. They're like, so I'm thinking they're gonna be so impressed. And after the talk, my uncle is like a colonel in the army, so he's like data science. I get it now. Finally, I understand what you've been doing all your life. And my aunt is like, Hamdan beta, I have to tell you something. I'm like, what's happening? She's gonna tell me my data science is wrong. No, she's like, Hamdan beta, mera khayal hai aapko data science छोड़ देना चाहिए और लड़कियों की तरफ रुझान दिखाना चाहिए. She said, Hamdan, I really think you gotta stop doing all this data science stuff and start paying attention to girls because you're doing too much data science and it's like taking over your mind and you're not married. And I was just like, I never expected anyone to tell me that. And she's been WhatsApping me du'as, like special du'as that I'm supposed to read like 4 times a day and like before Maghrib and after. I can't even read her handwriting. Like I don't even know what language this is. And I want to tell her, can you send me a voice note so I know how to pronounce it? And she just wants me to read these du'as, and that's my aunt. You know, good for my aunt. All right. I try to keep it real. You know, there's no one's fronting up here. Everyone keeps it very real. So next, I don't know where my hairbrush went. I hope my hair still good. Okay. Next up, we have a Rukhsar. Paula Rukhsar is going to read poems called Muslima Wandering. Everyone give a loud welcome to Muslim Art Collective. First time performer, Rukhsar, welcome to...
Okay, so I have 3 poems to read, and they're all part of a collection titled Muslima Wandering that I'm working on, and hopefully will be published in a couple years. Alright, so the first one is called La Chaleur, which in French means the heat. I wrote this when I was in Senegal, so here we go. Neighborhoods. Emphasis on the neighborhoods. No Silver Creek Country Club, no evergreen gated communities, not even Seattle's Cap Hill roads. No drunkards, no flannels, just hijabs, just sweat, the sun, and our driver. The heat waves of Casamance lick us, and at first we accept it. La Chaleur at its finest, causing the fruits to ripen. Here I say salam and then inshallah because everywhere is Islam, everywhere is Muslim, and everywhere is halal. Pink salt water washes over my toes, and I think, to resist is to love. When I say this to the girl beside me, she interlaces her fingers in mine and asks, when did you become such an angry woman of color? Her bottom lip juts out like a silent apology. All right, this next one is called Muslima Wandering. Muslima Wandering wades through lapping water like a dreamer who has lost touch with earth. Muslima Wandering learns womanhood through falling in love. For the first, she bought strawberries and took them to Les Fontanades. For the second, she bought many things. A small plush box, bunches of lavender, fountain pens, corduroy pants, aventurine, baby eggplants from the school garden, and gridded notebooks. For the third, she bought a heavy black moonstone, oval-shaped with scars of light running through the middle. Muslima Wandering calls to Allah during her bleakest moments. Sometimes on a prayer mat, once in Dakar while a heat wave washed over the city, twice while dancing on Karachi rooftops, and often in front of her beloveds. Friends who were family, friends who were loyal, friends who betrayed, friends who wanted to be more than friends, friends who were more than friends, friends who fell in between the lines, and friends she had to stop calling her friends. Muslima Wandering is not me, she's more, ethereal and messy at once, a collective of truths, sometimes secret details exchanged like whispers over the phone, confessions, every moment we dared in this world, admiring the peach flickers at the end of a cigarette, the tomatina cheeks of some beloved, a gathering of femininity, the fight in a daughter demanding from father, from hafiz, from authority. We were always accepting, obedient, wholly submitting until we found we couldn't do it anymore. It was then that we became Muslima Wandering, believer, lover, spirit, treading towards light. Okay, so this last one I wrote 2 days ago, so bear with me, it's very raw, but it's called Loving Me. And thank you for this theme, because it definitely helped me write it. I was trying to write it for a while, and now it's here. Loving me requires patience, but loving me is not a requirement. I find love hard to come by because love doesn't love me back. And even when I love, I don't, because love is like making time for a slow morning. Most of us simply can't afford it. And sometimes love is fleeting instead of forever. I keep asking Allah to slow everything down. I don't want to follow a timeline or a trek or a path. I don't want anything predetermined, even if it's fate. Instead, I want to wear my earrings with rose quartzes or pressed flowers. I want to walk in the wind over my secret bridge and watch the Harlem River reflect the moon's curvatures at night. I want to go to where few people can find me, to make homes in new spaces, to drink water from champagne flutes and be content with just that. I want to hide behind shisha smoke and reacquaint myself with French words. Séduisant, l'amour, l'attente. I want simple things. Ground turkey in the freezer always. A living room to dance in. To love freely and abundantly. To love ferociously. To love slowly. Emphasis on the slow. I ask Allah again, can everything slow down? When people speed up, I wonder if they're settling for less. I'm confused and then not, because I know that people only settle for less when it means something to them. Otherwise, who has ever settled? I've been there. Maybe I'm still there. I watch the lines blur where our wounds meet, and I wonder if this intersection is also love. I embrace my community even when it cradles the colonizer, even when it comes at a cost, because I know that we tend to relive the trap narrative more than we rewrite it. Abandonment wounds, shame wounds, self-imposed isolation, all the things we try not to show end up showing. So I ask Allah again, can everything slow down? Because loving me requires patience. Thank you.
Rukshara, everyone give it up for Rukshara. Wow. It's incredible. I never thought about it like that. Incredible. No, it's ironic because I don't know if anyone here is in tech. People are in tech in here? Like 5 people, everyone else is embarrassed to admit it. So in tech, they talk about this thing called fail faster. Has anyone heard about that? Fail faster, fail harder. And a friend was telling me recently that that's his philosophy about love. It's like, You have to fall fast and then you have to fail fast. It's like that's the only way you figure it out. You have to fall in love really fast and then you fail out of love really fast. And he's like, I was like, that sounds so interesting. What does that mean? He's like, no, otherwise it's just so slow. You're going through the clouds and you don't know what's happening. It's like, is this love, is this not? So you have to just fall fast, fail fast. And it made sense to me, but then the slowly, that was deep. So I think that's going to be the new slogan for the tech companies. Do everything slower. I love it. All right, next up. Oh, so I see a lot of people with phones. Guys, we're on all the social media. We're on Instagram, Muslim Writers Collective. We're on Twitter, some of the older people in the house. We're on Muslims Right. We're not on TikTok yet, but we have two incredible TikTokers, Ikra, and then there's Anib. They're going to get us on TikTok. So we're going to be everywhere. But I think there's a lot of value in keeping this a real life space. Every time people are like, can we live stream it? No, you can't. You got to be here. Can we listen in on Zoom? I don't even know how Zoom works. This is a real community. We're here in real life, building real connections. There's a lot of value in that. We're so grateful we can do that. So thank you again. Next up we have Joshua Allen Young. Joshua is someone who, give him a loud round of applause. I saw Joshua and I told him you have this light in your face, and he said that's because I'm white. No, I'm kidding. That didn't happen. None of that happened. I tried trying to be funny. But seriously, I was like, you have this nur in your face, and Joshua is a new Muslim brother who reverted after 13 years studying the Taoist and Buddhist tradition of internal martial arts and meditation. Just that thing right there. I was like, I want to learn everything from you. Joshua, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. We're so honored to have you. Joshua.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum everyone, and thank you for our gracious host. It was a tremendous amount of fun. So I had a brush with death during one of Hawaii's historic tropical storms. I was stranded on a beach, hanging from the side of a rock bluff with a 2-year-old in my arms. I was about 22 years old. I was homeless, living on my backpack. During my travels, I quickly learned that it is a lot less stressful figuring out where my next meal would come from while living in a warm tropical place. And so after months of scrounging up enough resources, alhamdulillah, I found my way to the island of Kauai. Within a few hours of being on the island, I learned of a beach where I could discreetly establish a residence, which is my cute way of saying that I could camp without getting arrested. And the night before this huge storm rolled in, I met with the 5 others taking advantage of the affordable rent on the beach. This included three young brothers. I think there were a few, like 18, 19. And it was actually this young mother living with her 2-year-old on the beach. We were all just kind of living the homeless life in Hawaii. And we became a little bit of a community. We would check in on each other. We would make sure everybody was okay. And as the storm was approaching, we all gathered up and we just agreed that first thing in the morning, we would check on each other, we would see how the storm was, and we would help each other get out because this was a pretty remote beach. We'd get to the road and we'd take a car out before the road flooded. And sure enough, we awoke to a raging thunderstorm. It was actually gorgeous thinking about it, just the lightning cracking over the ocean. And a swelling tide, so the waves were starting to come in bigger and bigger. And it felt like an ocean, a second ocean falling from the sky. It was raining so hard. Now our normal exit was this like muddy hill that we had to climb up, and it had turned into a waterfall. So after a few feeble tries of climbing up this waterfall and falling down every time, we realized that the only way to get off this beach was to actually walk out into the ocean, climb up onto the rock bluff as the waves were crashing, and then scale about an 8 to 12 foot tall wall. And so, thinking about it, it's intense. Like it gets me a little emotional because it was like the lightning started cracking right above our heads. The waves are crashing on our legs, and we formed this human chain to pass this 2-year-old. It felt really dangerous. And I remember I was halfway up the rock bluffs. My friend had already gotten to the top, And this young mother, she passed me her 2-year-old, and I'm holding this child, this beautiful little boy. And anyone with an ounce of common sense would just feel terrified in that moment. But I didn't. To this day, I'll never forget this profound sense of peace settled in on me. And it was like, as I was holding this kid, all of a sudden something was holding me. And I swear time slowed down as I passed that child. And all of a sudden I couldn't hear the waves, I couldn't hear the wind and the lightning. I just got this stillness. And in my heart I heard these words. I heard, everything will be okay. And then just like that, lightning cracked and time sped up. And I passed this young boy up to my friends, and I helped the mother climb, and helped my friends climb, and we climb, and we get to the parking lot, and we drive out right as the road is just literally flooding, like it's becoming a waterfall. Kauai is one of the rainiest places in the world. It's insane when the rain hits. So I reflect on that moment a lot. Those 3.5 years I spent living out of my backpack were really the start of my spiritual journey that I feel like I'm still walking to this day. And although thankfully I no longer hang from cliffs over oceans during storms, I still get this, whether it's like I recently sold a business, I took the plunge, I moved to New York City. I still remember this moment because I'm not doing this alone. I'm not doing this alone. I'm doing it with the love and the support of Allah. So long, thank you.
Everyone give it up, Joshua. Wow. Incredible. I've never been to Hawaii and I can't even swim, so that was a scary story for me. And it was great. What am I supposed to say? It's hard. People are laughing at me. No, a friend, when I learned how to MC, I didn't take a course, but when I used to MC, I used to make it all about the intro. I was like, next up we have Joshua, and I just make stuff up about it. Like, we have Joshua, he's like a baker, and he's all that. He's like, no, it's not about the intro, it's about the outro. You have to listen to what they said and say something relatable. So that guy, Hawaii, I can't swim, that's all I can do. That's me, I love that. I love this quote by Og Mandino. I don't know if anyone listens to Og Mandino in the back. Og Mandino, incredible self-help speaker. He says, only those who are mediocre can always be at their best. And I am not mediocre. I love that. I love that quote. Next up, we have Adriana Mateo. Adriana is a violinist. She's a singer, songwriter. I can't even believe this bio. She has opened for Alicia Keys. She's performed at the Met. She's been on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. She's been in Broadway. This is incredible. I don't know who you are. I don't know how you found us. Adriana Mateo, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
Hi everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me. As you all know, or I think a lot of you know, the performance arts over the past 2 years, the landscape has changed a bit. And it just has made live performance that much more precious. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for inviting all performers to come up. That means a lot. And thank you for being so welcoming. I'm Adriana Mateo. Just in case, after the thing is raised and I have to skedaddle, I'm on Instagram, 2N's, 1T. If you like what you hear, please feel free to connect. This song is called Built to Win, and I think a lot of us are, pretty ambitious and high achieving, and that's great, but it's also, as Hamdan mentioned, it's a bit of a challenge sometimes to find your soulmate. So this is called Built to Win. Letting you go shouldn't be this hard. Baby, I know I was built to win. Hitting my flow, leaving you behind was something I need, not that I wanted, so you know. Ooh, success a full night's rest in an empty bed. Ooh, success. I'm built to win, my heart's a mess. I'm built to win, but at what cost? Baby, if I win, does it always gotta mean applause? Why is it still hurting? Guess I'm still learning, yearning for you. Baby, I'm hurting, guess I'm still learning. I'm built to win, but I lost you. Ooh, I gotta go, I got a show. It's a Friday night, Muslim Writers Collective. Lock my gate, smile, slay. I'm built to win. Slinging my shot, down second thoughts, leaving you behind was something I needed. Ooh, success, the life I want, the love I left. Ooh, success, my heart's a mess. I'm built to win, but at what cost? Baby, if I win, does it always gotta be applause? Baby, I'm hurting, guess I'm still learning, yearning for you. Baby, I miss you, I wanna kiss you, I'm built to win, and I lost you. Ooh, ooh, ready to roll, they're calling me by name. Baby, you've always known I'm built to win. Just 'cause I could, don't mean I should. Leaving you behind was something I needed. Ooh, success, a full night's rest in an empty bed. Ooh, success, my heart's a mess. I'm built to win, but at what cost? Does it always gotta mean applause? Was it still hurting? Guess I'm still learning, yearning for you. I'm built to win, and I lost you. Thank you so much for the Writers Collective podcast. Feel free to find me on the internet at Adriana Mateo. Thanks so much.
Everyone give it up, Adriana Mateo. Wow, incredible. Built to win, I love that. I love it. I'm not even going to say anything funny about it because it's big time. That's why I'm not a stand-up comedian yet. I'm working on it. Ibrahim's going to give me lessons. Next up, we have one of the wonderful things about. First of all, I want to give a shout out to all of the incredible people. We have Hassan on the camera. Everyone give a big round of applause, Hassan. We have a Moon on the camera also. I did not plan that line. They're incredible. They do weddings, bar mitzvahs, funerals, everything. Overnight. Everyone find them. We also, I don't know if we have Kelvin still here. Let's give a Blockchain Center for hosting us. Kelvin runs the space. Incredible work all night, making sure we have chai and samosas, Kelvin. And then Shifa, I don't know where Shifa is. Give it up for Shifa, our incredible front of house. Greeted everyone, making sure we got everyone signed in. Really, it takes a big team. So one of the wonderful things about MWC is I see people who are like ghosts of Christmas past who I've known for so many years, and one of these people is not a ghost, he's like a beautiful person. I don't know why I said that, he's like nice. Anyway, he is one of the only people in this room who was at the very first Muslim Writers Collective in February 2014. He performed there, and since then he has turned his life around. He lost 140 pounds, he got ripped, he's a marathon runner. The guy's a motivational speaker. I'm not even kidding. You think I'm like, no, he's nice to everyone. No, this guy's the real deal. Everyone give it up for us at home seat. Welcome back to Muslim Writers Collective. Faras, welcome back.
Assalamu alaikum. Oh my God. MashaAllah, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful gathering. I've been with Hamdan and Muslim Writers Collective since 2014, and I have never seen it this filled. So initially in 2014, I was an initial speaker where I went to Toastmasters. I put myself on stage because I always had stage fright, and I could never express messages that I felt inside. And Muslim Writers Collective, I mean, they probably began with 10 people watching me. So that wasn't that scary, but now it's really scary. So the theme is what does love mean to me? I'm a 45-year-old man who has experienced life 33 years around New York City, New Jersey, and I've been through life. I've been through the phase where I used to go clubbing and party days, and I've been through the phase when I was smoking cigarettes and hookah with the guys, and I've been through the phase where, you know, I used to ask myself a question of why are you praying? I mean, I was born to a Muslim family, so I was praying all the time, but I didn't know why I was praying. So I've been through the phase where I rebelled and I questioned, you know, why are you praying, or who are you praying to? And I've been through the phase where I took a course that was called the philosophy of death, because I couldn't come to terms with the fact that I'm gonna die. And anyways, I'm here now, and what love means to me is a concept that is shared in the Quran. And the concept is, you know, when God talks about the most intimate relationship that anyone can have with their wives, he begins by saying, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, it translates into, and from his signs, to show you that he's the creator. And he says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, you probably see this on all the invitation of the wedding. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And from his signs, he has created from yourselves partners so you can find peace with them. And he has created between you, he didn't say love, because many people translate that verse, mawadda wa rahma, as love, but it really doesn't translate to love, because love is hub, right? Anyone who speaks Arabic, love is hub. But mawadda, it's more of, it's a relationship where in between both partners, you don't love the person for yourself, but you love what is best for them. This is mawadda. And the mawadda can happen between a husband and a wife. It can happen between a friend and a friend. It can happen between a father and a son. It can happen between a Muslim and another Muslim. It can happen between a Muslim and a human. It can happen between any human and another human. It's when you truly want to see that person in front of you in the best state that they can ever be in, no matter what it costs, even if you need to sacrifice yourself and the relationship that's between you and them for the sake of their good. This is what I have for you tonight. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you, Firas. Next up, Firas is just incredible, because when I walked in, it's like some people, they tell you the right thing you need to hear at the right moment in your life. I don't know if anyone's experienced that. It's like some people, they talk for hours, and it's like, none of that is what I needed to hear. I don't know what you were talking about. That's me. But like other people are like, you walk up and they give you one sentence, it's like, that's what you needed. And I remember like 3 months ago, we had just restarted Muslim Writers Collective after the pandemic. It was like 2 years we hadn't done anything. People were afraid. We're in here, people were wearing masks. Our keynote performer was wearing a mask. It was like a bit of a fearful space. And Firas came up to me, he said, you have this gift for bringing people together, and that's valuable. And I was like, I started crying. I didn't really, whatever. I had tears in my eyes, like my eyes were sparkling. I like to exaggerate. I can cry. Guys can cry. Can guys cry? Okay. I was like, that's sweet. That's exactly what I needed to hear. And some people have that gift. Next up, we have Jenna Pleasant in the house. Jenna, everyone give it up for Jenna. Jenna is a Tunisian American. Oh my God. Okay. Jenna, I saw Jenna. I thought it was going to be a white girl, but it's Jenna. I get it now. Oh my God. My mind is blown. Jenna. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. Everyone give it up, Jenna. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
Hi everyone. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. So I kind of have a poem for you guys. It's not about theme. It has some kind of dark elements, so it's going to be a journey for us together. This is the first time I performed in front of this many people. Like at the sign-up sheet, it was like, oh, put your like experience level. And I've done like public speaking for like 6 years competitively, so I was like expert. Now I'm like, I don't know. So this poem is called "To God We Return." Because when the depression hits, it's hard to turn in homework. Because when the depression hits, it's hard to pin your hijab, let alone comb your hair. Yet they're still disappointed in me. They tell me the door is right in front of me and that they handed me the key. They say, you're not sick, get over it, you need to grow a thick skin. They say, depression is a state of mind, Jenna, like Mississippi or California, so just cross the border and get out of it. They say, just stop being sad. Like it's that easy. Like I can just stop. Do you know how scary it is to fear death but never want anything more than it? And I'm afraid, because with the culture so focused on dressing put together, smiling but never too much, speaking up but never too loud, it's hard to breathe, let alone to want to. The first person I told about my fears was my Arabic teacher. She told me that killing myself was a one-way ticket to hell, so I spent my time canceling and rebooking my trip, because when the depression hits, Islam goes right out the door. Because when the depression hits, it's hard to pray Fajr or read Quran or see heaven as something that you can reach. God, please tell me, why did you decide to make me so broken would make me a good servant? And I know depression comes to everyone, but I never knew it would stay for this long. It's like an unwanted house guest. But of course my Arab hospitality has to come out. I make my depression feel welcome because maybe like my aunts and uncles, it just wants to stay for tea. I ask my depression to take off its shoes as it sits on the guest-only couches, but I want to say goodbye because I'm done kissing each of its cheeks for the 5th time. I wouldn't mind if it took a piece of me wrapped up as leftovers, but it needs to be on its way because sometimes when I do sujood, I forget what to say. The only thoughts that come to mind are dark. I forget that this is the most optimal time to pray, to ask for forgiveness. But how can God forgive me for wanting to go back to Him so soon? And I say goodbye to the angels on both of my shoulders, thinking how about they're writing about all of my actions, about how I'm trying to escape this depression that I don't really have. And I sit in front of the sheikh, and he tells me that depression isn't haram, and that it's an emotion that people with my deen are susceptible to too. And I tell him I am scared, and he reminds me, Inna lillahi wa inna lillahi raji'un. It's from God we come, and it's to Him we return to. It's almost like we're all enveloped with the return stamps, but we're stuck in a closed post office on a Sunday, even though I spent all of Friday praying to return to Him. But I'm never strong enough to actually do it. The hardest part is, I'm not allowed to talk about it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the innocent children in Palestine who are facing an identity crisis because of Zionism. Let's talk about the teens in Tunisia and Egypt and Syria who saw their friends get killed in front of them. Let's talk about how they aren't allowed to cry about it because the Arab Spring doesn't carry tissue boxes, because disappointed parents can't just sit there and provide comfort. Because when you're Arab, failure and depression aren't in your vocabulary. Therapists speak an unfamiliar tongue. They blur your vision and keep you crying. Arab people don't believe in feelings. In fact, in Arabic, feelings is mash'ar, which sounds a lot like mashakil, which means problems. And we aren't allowed to talk about our problems as Arabs. I would argue that Arabs believe that depression mom's voice say, because when the depression hits, you're supposed to hit back harder. But when did my life become a boxing match, and where are the refs to call the end of the round? I can hear my grandma crying over me as she says she knows I fought for so long. My best friend, who shares my name, will read a eulogy as she shares our sweet moments. Because when the depression hits, sometimes you have to pray that you'll keep fighting. Thank you. Listening to that and for the streets, it was so amazing. I'm actually a published author. I'm working on my second collection right now. If you want to get my book, it's on Amazon. You guys can follow me at Jenna.Fleeson, Fliesen, or find me afterwards and you guys can buy it there. Yes, thank you so much. I really experienced this a lot where I've performed in so many other places, but not people who will fully understand the meaning of that poem. So it's so great to share it with all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Jenna, please, and everyone give it up for Jenna. Incredible. So, I think one of the incredible things about being in a place like this, looking out at, 250 people, I'm not a mathematician, it's a lot of people, is that sometimes you feel scared, And I'm standing up here, thinking after Jenna's piece, which really shook me, I was like, that was brave, right? And I wasn't thinking of sharing this, but I don't know. I feel like I want to share the thing that scares me the most right now, and it scares me a lot. And I've been learning to embrace my fears, but it's very vulnerable, it's very raw. And as I was coming up over, I was calling my friend, I was like, oh, I'm going to tell these stories. He's like, those stories, we heard them. Why don't we talk about that story? I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to share that, I'm afraid. And he's like, just do it. I don't know, you guys ready? It's very raw, it's very vulnerable, it's deep. I've never told it to this big of an audience before. It's I don't know if people are familiar with the concept of the meet cute. It's like a kid term. Meet cute, people know what that is? I didn't know what it was, but these people, Gen Z people were like, meet cute, meet cute. I was like, what does that mean? And meet cute is you guys do not know what that is. Okay, good. I was like, you guys are anti-meet cute. No, you just don't know what that is. Meet cute is, okay, people in the big front of the room who are talking, you're gonna come up and perform. Okay, grab that guy. Okay, no, I'm kidding. So a meet cute is when you meet someone and it's a cute story. It's like the opposite of meeting someone on an app. App is not a cute story. I was swiping, I met someone. Meet cute is like when the universe conspires to bring you together with someone. I don't know if anyone has ever felt like that before. I don't know if anyone has ever had that happen to you before. It happened to me a few years ago. I spent a few months traveling Europe, not like on spring break. I was traveling for work. I was going to all these conferences and meetups, talking about Bitcoin and blockchain and giving all these lectures. And I was on the road for 6 months and traveling to all of these places. I had no friends over there. It gets lonely. I don't know if anyone has traveled a lot for work. It's hard. It's very hard. And then there was a list. There was an email list of Muslim hipsters. I don't know if it's still around. Anyone still around? Mipsters? Mipsters? So Mipsters is such a funny, I'm not going to talk about Mipsters, but Mipsters claims they founded Muslim Writers Collective. Mipsters claims they incubated it. It's kind of true because the first group that got the idea for Muslim Writers Collective was Mipsters. I emailed Mipsters, I said I want to start an open mic. No one responded. They were like, we're Mipsters, we're too cool for that. Anyways, it happened. So there was this email list of Muslim creative people all over the world. So I emailed the list, I'm like, hey guys, I'm in Europe. I'm going to be in Berlin on Tuesday. I'm going to be in Lisbon on Saturday. I'm going to be here. Are there any cool Muslim people around? I just want to make friends. Because I don't speak any of those languages in those countries. I was walking around not speaking any of those languages. And the one language I speak, no, I'm kidding, I speak some languages. But I want to meet people. So I'm in Lisbon. Anyone been to Lisbon, Portugal? Some people, yeah. They have the pasta, I can't pronounce it. Pastéis de nata, is that how you pronounce it? It's like this pastry, it's like this egg cream pastry, it's delicious. So I'm in Lisbon, and I email Mipsters, and this girl responds. She says, oh, I'm in Lisbon, I'm studying abroad here, I saw your message, I'm an artist, I'm creative. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm speaking at this meetup tonight, you should come to this meetup. She's like, no, I'm busy, but what are you doing after? I'm like, oh, we're all going out to this bar. I don't drink, my mom is listening, I don't drink. So I'm like, so we all I'm serious. Diet Pepsi. And Diet Pepsi. And so I'm like, we're all going to this bar to hang out. Why don't you come? So she shows up at the bar. I'm like, she's around my age. She's like an artist. She's American, but she's living in Lisbon. And we start talking, like we have a great conversation, and everyone else is speaking Portuguese. So obviously, I really enjoy talking to her. And she's also Pakistani, American. And then, after the bar scene disperses, we just walk around old Lisbon in the old town, and we go to this little pastry shop. And you got people, some of the romantic people are like, their eyes are like starting to shine. They're like, oh, I think I know where this is going. And the cynical people are like, why doesn't that ever happen to me? I say Abdullah Al-Muhayya, he's like, I've been living in this city all many years, never happened to me. Why does everything always happen to you? I don't know, Abdullah. He's good looking, he's single, talk to Abdullah. And he's good, he's a great storyteller. And so we're walking around Lisbon, and we go to this pastry shop, and it feels kind of like special to me, because I don't know this person. I just emailed some list, and like she responded, and all of a sudden we're meeting, we're hanging out. The sad part is that that's my last night in Lisbon. I'm leaving Lisbon. I'm going to some other European capital, and so I didn't know if anything was going to come of it. And then I didn't really, I didn't know what was going to happen. I left Lisbon. We texted a little bit. I am horrible at long distance stuff. I'm the worst person in the world. I can barely respond to people in the same city, So it's like we have some messages, and it's like, okay, that was fun. That was a fun person I met, and life passed on. And then the craziest things happened. 2 crazy things happened. That was like, wait, is the universe sending me a sign? I don't know if people believe in that. I mean, we're Muslims. God sends us signs. The universe just like orbits the planets or whatever it does. So what happens is 3 years later, I'm speaking at an event at like the New York Public Library on Muslims in the Arts. And I'm on this panel, and we're all talking, and then this woman comes up to me afterwards. She's like, oh, I'm also into the arts, and we're talking, and I'm like, wait, I noticed your name, and you kind of look familiar. I'm like, wait, are you related to this person? And I tell her the name of the person I met in Lisbon. She said, that's my baby sister. See, I knew it. There were like romantics in the house. And I was like, that's crazy, because I had like pastries with her in Portugal, like 4 years ago, and it was like incredible. And then I never heard from her again, and I didn't text her again either. It wasn't like a one-sided. And she's like, no, that's so crazy. And I was like, wait, how did you even end up here? She's like, well, I don't know, my friend was speaking. She's like, come, let's go to this thing. Again, I'm trying to calculate the odds. I'm a data scientist, I'm a statistician. I'm like, that's why, that's a big problem, right? Because you're always trying to do the numbers. It's like, love is not about numbers, it's about feelings. I'm trying to do the numbers. I'm like, wait, what were the odds that I met that girl in Lisbon? What are the odds that her sister shows up at the library? I'm like, is the universe trying to send me a sign? I'm always like that, I learned that from a movie. I learned that from Silver Linings Playbook. Did anyone see that movie? A lot of the old school romantics were Bradley Cooper. My favorite, I'm trying to get his hairstyle. But at the end of Silver Linings Playbook, Bradley Cooper and Robert De Niro, they're having this moment, and Bradley's obsessed with his ex-wife. And his dad grabs him and he says, listen, I don't know if your ex-wife ever loved you, but that girl over there loves you, and you have to go out and talk to her. And sometimes the universe gives you a sign and you have to grab it. And Brad's like, I know, Dad, I know that. And so that's like my what's going on in my mind. I'm like, the universe is trying to give me signs, So I'm like, okay, nice. We met again. So I texted the little sister. I'm like, oh, guess who I just met? Your big sister's like, oh, that's so nice. Blah, blah, blah. And then whatever, I can't do long distance stuff, So we keep talking. And then the craziest thing happens, another year later, another 2 years later, the sister, she said, listen, my little sister is just moving to New York, and can I connect her with you? Maybe you guys can catch up. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And then, I'm at an event like this a few years ago, a while back, and it's an open mic, and she walks in, and I don't even recognize her because she's like beautiful, and time has passed, right? Like, she's beautiful. I'm like, wait, who are you? And she's like, we met in Lisbon, we had all these pastries, don't you? I was like, oh my God. I was like, Silver Linings Playbook, universe is sending me a sign, universe is sending me a sign. And, we just catch up, we start talking, and I'm like, listen, when I was in Lisbon, you took me to have pastries, right? So you just moved to New York, we should do something like that here. I was like, I don't know what that equivalent of that in New York is, because I don't really know, I'm not like cultured and fancy and everything. She's like, no, that's okay, we'll figure it out. So, like right after that, I'm like, again, universe is giving me a sign. I'm like, welcome back to New York, let's do something. Meanwhile, these girls are like romantics. They're like, yes, you gotta do it. You're like, why are you taking so much time? Just do it already. Like, you know what to do. It's like you're dragging this out. That's your problem. I see it. I see it in their faces. It's like a whole, they're like, just do it. What's wrong with you? Like, so I text her, and then I'm like, I'm like, listen, universe is giving me a sign. I gotta do something different from what I always do. What I always do doesn't work. What I always do is go have coffee with them, and I talk about my life and their life and politics and the world, and we just like have a philosophical conversation about the meaning of life, and it never goes anywhere. And I'm talking to my friends, they're like, listen, you need to do something different. You need to channel some like tall, dark, handsome energy. That's who you have to become right now, because the universe is asking you to become that person right now. It's like, this isn't someone you met on an app. This isn't like someone you met in a coffee shop, like you met in Lisbon, the sister, you met her. This is like a moment. You have to seize this moment, and you have to be really smooth over here. And they're like, the energy you need to channel is sexy. I was like, what does that mean? I don't know how to do that. And they're like, listen. I know you always go to these 3 coffee shops, no coffee. I was like, okay, can we have ice cream? She's like, no, ice cream is what people have with their kid brother. Never invite a girl to have ice cream. They're laughing, they know that's real. They're like, yes, guys always invite me to have ice cream. It's true. So I'm like, okay, what do I do then? They're like, you have to find a nice restaurant, a nice candlelit, intimate restaurant, and you have to invite her. And here's the thing, like some guys, like you have to tell her to wear a dress. I'm like, what? It's like, no, just do it. It's gonna send a signal that it's like that type of an evening. I'm like, I've never done anything like that before. So I text her, I'm like, let's go to this restaurant tomorrow, wear a dress. I send the dress emoji. Because I'm like, am I serious? Am I funny? Who knows? We'll find out. I'm like, wear a dress emoji. And it's the dress emoji, I don't know if anyone has ever used it, is a green emoji, right? So I don't want her to think she has to wear a green, like, it could be any color, it's just a green emoji, whatever. And she's like, good, I'm glad you said that, because my whole wardrobe is black, so I don't even have any green dresses. So we go to this restaurant, and she shows up, and we just start talking, and we're talking for like 3 hours in that restaurant. We don't notice the waitress, we don't notice the staff. We're like, what are we gonna get? And the wild thing is, she speaks like 8 different languages. I speak like 4 or 5, English barely, but like I speak a few languages, and we're just like back and forth in every single language about like every possible topic. Like she's finishing my sentences, and I'm like speaking Russian, and I'm speaking like German, and like she's like knows all of these languages better than I do. And she knows Urdu better than I do. And I'm like, this is incredible. This is just like something magical is happening over here. And we're talking. And I'm like, the waitress comes to us, and the waitress says, do you guys want dessert? And again, I never know how to act in this situation. So I'm like, tall, dark, handsome, sexy energy. What would I do? I said, no, that's okay. We're going somewhere else. No, not like that. And no, the girls are like, oh, that's where the story is going. No, I'm good. And she's like, oh, where are we going? I'm like, oh, I know this ice cream place, because I always want to have ice cream. I'm like, I know this gelato place in Williamsburg. It's the world's best gelato place. We have to. She's like, oh, that's so exciting. We're gonna have gelato. So, whoa, that's some feedback. So we're going. We go to my car. It's like 4 blocks away. It's like cold. We're walking close. She's like, oh, how much far? I'm like, it's close. And then we go to the gelato place, and she walks in and she starts speaking Italian, because she speaks like 8 languages. And like the staff are Mexican, they don't speak Italian. But she's like speaking it for my benefit, she's like Italian, and I'm like, oh, is that how you pronounce it? Is that how you pronounce it? It's just like an incredible experience. We're talking about the flavor profiles, we're talking about all of these things, and I just feel like something magical is happening. I feel like the universe is sending me a sign, and we can't decide between flavors. It's like pistachio, hazelnut, coconut, a lot of flavor. It's a great place. And then I say, why don't we just get a bunch of flavors and we'll share? She's like, okay. And then they give us all the stuff in 1 cup with like 2 spoons. And we're eating, so we walk out and we're still talking all these languages, and we're standing outside in the cold, in the winter, holding the ice cream, it's melting, and we're still like talking all of these languages, and see if the next day. And I'm just like, I'm trying to text her, I'm not really a good texter, I'm trying to whatever, I'm trying to keep it going, and I'm sensing that she's losing interest. I come back to New York, I'm like, hey, I just got back, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm doing my hair, I'm like, well, okay, what about tomorrow? She's like, no, I have to do this. And I'm just like, I feel like I have to make a move here, right? Because I waited too long and then I left the country. So this is when I start, I don't know if you guys do this. I go to my friends and ask them what to text, right? I don't know if anyone does this. I do this, right? And I'm like, what do I text her? And then, I call her. They're like, you have to call her, right? You have to call her, just tell her how you feel, or just tell her you feel there's something here. So I call her, she doesn't pick up. She texts me back the next, she's like, oh, I missed your call, what's going on? So I'm like, I need some advice on how to respond to this text, because this feels like an important text. So I call this friend, and he says, listen, you have two options. You can play it really cool, or you can play it a little cool. I was like, okay, that sounds nice. He says, if you play it really cool, she says, what, I just missed your call, what's happening? Just say not much, what's happening with you? That's like really cool. But he says, if you do that, it's gonna end it, probably, right? The girls are like, yeah, don't ever text us that. Don't ever text us that. Like, don't do that. And I was like, okay, that's too cool for me, right? I'm trying to keep it warm, That's the thing, everyone's trying to keep it cool, and then we complain we have no warmth in our lives. We complain we have no warmth in our relationships. We have no warmth in our friendships. We're just cold all the time because everyone's trying to play it so cool. So I'm like, I'm not trying to play it that cool. And he says, okay, there's a slightly less cool thing you can say, which is say, I tell her, and he's like writing, this guy's like an expert. But I don't think he's good, but he thinks he's an expert. He's like, text her, I miss your face, when am I seeing you again? No? Why not? You gotta tell us, because the guys are like, we text that every day. It's too early. Too early. Don't text I miss your face? Too early for I miss your face. So what should I have texted? I wanna see you? I'll tell you after? Oh, you tell me after. Bro, I know you know the answer. Bro, you have more game than anyone in this room. I know. Magic. Okay. They're saying it's too early to say I miss your face. Just say, I wanna see you again? When can we meet? Okay, that's a good answer. Anyways, I'm just like, and this is where I have a deep moment for myself. I'm like, listen, I'm not just trying to say the right thing to get the right response. I want to figure out who am I and who am I trying to be and what are my values and what is the type of person I'm trying to be in the world. And I'm trying to be someone who's raw and vulnerable and genuine and someone who owns my emotions. I miss your face. When can I see? That's like Justin Bieber when he was 16, he would text that. That's like, baby, I miss your face. When can I see you? I was like, that's not me. It's not concordant with who I am. And then we have this friend's older brother who's like suave, smooth, confident. He reminds me of George Clooney, and I called him and he sat me down. He said, listen, you have to put yourself out there. Girls, if it was too early for I miss your face, it's too early for putting myself out there, right? It depends? No? It's fine? Well, you gotta listen to what this guy tells me to text. He says, you have to text her, you have to be very open and you have to own your feelings. And he says the hardest thing in the world is to own your feelings because everyone's trying to play it cool all the time. You have to tell her, listen, it was incredible hanging out with you last time. It felt good. It felt really good. It felt really good. And I have to let you know, sometimes, this is like incredible. This is a master class in intergender communications happening. Give them a round of applause. This is like incredible. I need to like sit down with you guys afterwards and learn everything. So he's like, text her, it was really good hanging out with you. It felt really good. I know when emotions get involved, people can have fears. I have fears. No, I have fears. And I'm confused also. But if you want to explore, I'd like to explore this further and see where this can go. They're like, not over text, oh my God. These are the people I needed in my life like 2 years ago. So, he's like, text her that and then tell her, regardless, I think you're an incredible person. Okay, that's good? Okay, great. I'm like on an emotional roller coaster with this crowd over here. So he's like, text her that, and I'm thinking, my first reaction is, this scares the shit out of me. I'm gonna text someone all of that, right? But again, I ask myself, like, what is the type of person I'm trying to be? And I'm a deep person. I listen to ghazals. I sing ghazals. And if you listen to the ghazals, Mehdi Hasan, my favorite ghazal, is like deep stuff. It's Zindagi mein to sabhi pyar kiya karte hain. Zindagi mein to sabhi प्यार किया करते हैं मैं तो मर कर भी मेरी जान तुझे चाहूंगा. That's my favorite Muslim. You don't understand what that meant. You are missing out there. The meaning is like even deeper. The meaning is everyone in their lifetime falls in love. Everyone does it. But my love for you is so intense that even after I die, I'm going to keep on loving you. And then the next line is even deeper. It says, how can I fathom the thought of being separated from you? How can I fathom the thought of being separated from you when I have snatched you from the palm lines of my fate and from destiny? And it's very deep. It's like we have all these palm lines and our palm lines weren't supposed to intersect. And he snatched her away from destiny. And he's like, how can I stop loving you even after I die? Now, I listen to that all the time. You know, I grew up listening to that stuff. And I'm like, who is the Hamdan I'm trying to be right now? Like, my father used to sing these ghazals. My grandfather used to listen to them. I was like, how would they feel who grew up listening to this type of intense poetry if I texted a girl, I miss your face, when can I see you again? It was like, that's not who I'm trying to be. So I texted her that. And it was hard, and I had a lot of fears. And I'm not going to tell you how it ended or what happened. I know. I'm not going to tell you how it ended. Here's why. I'm going to tell you, here's why. I'm done. It's like the first protest that was survived. I know. Okay. They want to know. Listen, no. She texted. Okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what she texted, but I'll also tell you why it doesn't matter, and then we'll end. She responded, she said, I really appreciate your honesty and that you're having this open conversation. I wish more people did that these days. I had a wonderful time hanging out with you, but I felt like something was missing and I'm still trying to figure things out. So that's what she texted, but then I realized it doesn't matter because I wasn't texting it for her. I was texting it for myself. I was trying to understand who am I trying to be, and I'm trying to be someone who's not afraid of owning my emotions, someone who is owning how I feel, someone who's not afraid to be vulnerable and put myself out there. And that's the story. That's my story. Thank you for listening. Wow. I promised Khalid and Adil I will tell you that. Alright, next up. Thank you for listening. That was intense. Next up we have Zahra Malik, who's going to perform on Memory. Zahra got a big entourage. Zahra is a writer and poet from South Africa who moved to New York a year ago. Her writing is inspired by Khalil Gibran and Walt Whitman. Everyone, let's give a loud welcome. Zahra Malik, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zahra, and I'm so grateful to be here. I moved to New York 1 year ago, and I've already fallen in love with the city. When I thought of the theme, love is, well, firstly, love is the energy in this room. It's amazing. A myriad of things fill my mind. Utopian plans, imaginary landscapes, science fiction ontologies, mythologies, artist sketches, endless things. And at first it may seem like these things don't directly relate to love. But when I looked deeper and I investigated, I found out that, for me at least, love is, the crux of it is memory and the energy of that. And I thought of an example in Beethoven, because he composed his most admired and brilliant works in the last 15 years of his life, when he was completely deaf. So he couldn't hear the notes that he was playing, but he produced these pieces that he listened to the notes inside himself, and he produced these pieces that we still listen to centuries on. So he completely negated the assumption that you need to here in order to produce music, which as a pianist, I think that's absolutely phenomenal. And when you listen to his music, you can hear it. It's highly expressive, highly personal. And I think that the love that he channeled in all of his sonatas and nocturnes, I think that's the reason that we're all here today. It's the love that we have for art, for producing art, for presenting it here in this space. And I don't think that it needs to manifest in art. I think it manifests in different ways, like deja vu, and that's something that really fascinates me because I feel like it's this complete recapitulation of an event that happened in the past. It's like in the archives, but it comes directly from us, and we feel it in our chest, and we see it in our mind's eye right in front of us, even though it doesn't actually exist in that present moment. And I think that the power of all of this, like these things that keep coming up, like repetition over and over again, I think it's, for me, I draw it to refrains in poetry and reprises in a concept album, or like in Beethoven's sonatas, the movements, the dynamics, the repetition. Like, that's what life is. It's basically energy, and I think that this all can be explained through the memory, and if you consider that every single thing in the universe is vibrating, everything is matter, but everything has energy, and even though this spectrum, this vibrational frequency is endless, you get like really low energy, really high energy, but I think it's so comforting that love has the highest vibrational frequency that in the known universe. I think it's something like 528 hertz, but it's like, that's something that is so comforting, because that absolute cliche that love makes the world go round, that's actually so true. And it's not just a bunch of words strung together to make you feel better. So anyway, so this made me think of a poem that I wrote like years ago, actually in high school, and it's about memory, and it's about how even though we can't see love actually, like it's not touchable, it's very palpable because it has this immense energy, and it changes the fabric of the environment and of the universe, and it's present all the time, even though we can't see it. This is called On Memory, and I did write it like a long time ago, so it might just be very childish, but bear with me. The memories and dreams of the dead are flashing nearby. Look beneath the dimensions, unfold them like you unfold the covers of your bed, and you will find them there. The colors of the cosmos that we have not yet seen are all here and there. We just have to reveal these reclusive facets, the ones that don't face the sun. I am sure the stars hold all the spectrums, too, the spectrum of vectored vision, of music of the spheres and emotions and emotional elements. Everything is here. We are just blind to it. We don't know reality. Only reality knows reality. I can never know you completely, and you will never know me. It is time for all of us. It is true for all of us in the cosmos. Celestial and extraterrestrial bodies can only know themselves. Between humans, between stars, between plants, between realities. You know yours, I know mine, and that is all. This is the way of life, although we cannot overcome in our arrogance. We are not divine enough to know all. So take time to talk to your own territory. Do not mind the ticking of the clock, because this time has always been here, and it will always be here. We may think in the whole cosmos, how can we just be a grain of sand? But our souls are vibrations that expand to the ends of the universe, the ends which are ever expanding because the universe is constantly growing and ever departing. At least we are that much. We hold a place here. Our energy will always be here. The ghosts of our memories will always play here on this earth, on the shelves of this ephemeral life, in this oxygenated atmosphere. We have been here since the beginning, and we will be here till the very end. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone give it up for Zara. I learned that from Interstellar. Love has the greatest frequency. I love that movie, Interstellar. I saw it 8 times. Incredible. No one watches movies. They all watch Netflix. All right, next up we have Arish Jamil. Arish, are you in the house? Arish is incredible. He's a stand-up comic, and he's also one of the founders of MWC in Atlanta. MWC is all over the country. I met him for the first time tonight. Everyone give it up, Arish Jamil. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. Louder, louder, Arish.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Arish. Just for those of you guys talking in the background, let's do the Minder Shinder after the event. You know, you can exchange your Baba's numbers later. Okay, so my name is Arish. Love is honesty, because to be honest, like, I didn't stick to the theme. So is it okay if I don't stick to the theme tonight? Alright, so I just moved to New York City 3 weeks ago, so give it up for me, everybody. Give it up for me and my fragile ego. Yes, I actually moved here from Georgia. Anyone from the South? Dallas, Texas. Oh, bless your heart. Well, I moved here from Atlanta, Georgia. I was there for 11 years. 11 years. That's a long time. I don't like the number 11. I think it's racist. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but hear me out. I think as a brown person, it's in two of my least favorite numbers, 7-11 and 9-11. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't. Well, but I was in Atlanta for 11 years, and I just moved here. But I will say I am originally from Pakistan, in case someone over here. Any Pakistanis in the house? I am originally from Lahore, Pakistan, in case someone was wondering. Oh, Lahore! Yes! I'm originally from Pakistan, in case someone was wondering, but where are you really from? I actually grew up there, and I had a pretty normal childhood. You know, my family was always around. My school life was not that stressful. Bin Laden was my neighbor. Normal stuff, you know. Bin Laden wasn't actually my neighbor, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Karen in the background just like, oh my God, we saw Bin Laden's neighbor doing comedy at the Muslim Writers Collective. He bombed, obviously. But, yes, I am originally from Pakistan, but I will say I am happy that Bin Laden is dead. I will say that. But in full disclosure, I was a little conflicted the day he died, you know, in Pakistan. It kind of felt like taking a shit in your pants. Like, you're happy that it's happened, you're just not happy where it's happened. Because it was embarrassing. All the Pakistanis know here. It was embarrassing as a Pakistani that America and Pakistan have been allies for years. And America catching Pakistan in bed with Bin Laden kind of felt like your spouse catching you in bed with Bin Laden. It's an awkward situation. But it is a good time to be brown. There are a lot of successful brown comedians, actors, entertainers. There's Mindy Kaling. Any Mindy Kaling fans? There's Kumail Nanjiani. Any Kumail Nanjiani fans? There's Hasan Minhaj. Any Hasan Minhaj fans? I'd like to think I'm a lot like Hasan Minhaj, but with twice the hair product and half the hairline. Yeah, no one really warns you when you're growing older that you're gonna start losing your hair one day. The brown uncles know this. Every time I look at my receding hairline, I feel like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Like, my precious hair, precious darling, my precious. And the first time I noticed a change was happening in representation, I was in this city, New York. I was going to a show where Hassan was performing at. And I go up to this white girl, we start talking, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so excited to see Hassan. He is so hot. So good looking. He's so good looking. His hair is on fleek. Hassan is zaddy. Are you guys familiar with the term zaddy? Well, whoever isn't. It basically means she wanted to astaghfirullah, you know. Fill in the gap. But at that moment, I had tears in my eyes. Because in my entire life, I had never seen a brown person on television ever being objectified that way. And neither of any of you guys, because how many times have you seen this happen? Oh my god. Have you guys seen Apu from The Simpsons? So hot, so good looking. Every time he says, thank you, come again. I come again. Because Apu is Zaddy. No, that never happened. Apu was not Zaddy. Alright, thank you, that was my time. Before I leave, I do want to say thank you, Hamdan. I am a board member and a host at the Atlanta chapter, so thank you. Give it up for Hamdan for setting this up, creating this beautiful space. MWC is kind of like Halal, guys. It started in New York, and now it's all over America. So give it up for Hamdan one more time. Thank you very much. My name is Arish, like Irish with an A.
Everyone give it up for Arish Jamil. That was incredible. MWC is like Halal, guys, except we make no money. We lose money. We lose money because we have all these samosas and chai. No, I'm kidding. They're great. They're great. All right, next up we have Ithar. Ithar is going to talk about For the Love of Home. Everyone, is she still here? Ithar, she's still here? All right, everyone give it up, Ithar. Ithar is a human being figuring things out. Aren't we all? Everyone give it up for Ithar. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
I have never performed before.
Woo!
I know everyone's really tired, so I'll try and not go over 5 minutes, but don't ding me if I do. 9 years ago, I picked up 2 suitcases and ran away from love. 7,477 miles away, to be precise. But I didn't know I was running away from love. I thought I was running towards it. I thought I was running away from home to build a new home I would love. And I did. I built a new home. I loved my new home. But I never stopped loving home. How can you live in multiple homes, though, when loving one means abandoning the other? To be constantly torn in two. You cannot be here and there, even if you want to be here and there. I try. I come and I go. I flit across the world like people drive across town. I am hollow and I am whole. I love to leave, and I love to come back. I am sad when I leave, and I'm sad when I come back. Here and there and everywhere and nowhere. I've spent an inordinate amount of time in the past decade thinking about homes and what they mean to me. It befuddles me sometimes how my heart has expanded to love places that were never mine. I've built so many homes. New routines, new coffee shops, new friends, San Francisco, DC, New York. But for every place I leave a piece of me behind. And you can't put all those pieces back together again. I thought coming here to America would be finding the last piece of the puzzle, not that it would be dropping puzzle pieces everywhere. And I wonder, how many pieces of yourself can you afford to leave behind? Sometimes being here is freedom. Sometimes it is exile. A balloon deflates with sadness inside my heart every time I'm on a plane taking off. But that same balloon inflates with joy as the plane lands. My heart swells and bubbles of joy rise to the surface. Because you see, both sides of that journey are home. Can I ever go back home? My world has expanded. I don't just see blue anymore. I see turquoise and navy and aqua and cerulean shades of blue. But these shades can never all exist in one home. Some exist in one home and some in another. And I can't unsee the shades again, ever. I'll always know the ones I'm missing. I've learned how to live away from places and people I love. I love being alone. I love being surrounded by family. I love the stillness of my independence, and I love the noise and the chaos of an intertwined family. Love is my mother's hug, my father's smile. It is in my grandma's food and in the laughter of my cousins. It is in my mother's tears, in my father's haunted, angry gaze. It is in their pride and in their shame of who I turned out to be and the choices I made. My heart splinters when I leave my family, that home. I break myself into pieces and then painstakingly stitch myself together again. And I do it over and over again. I don't allow the wound to ever heal. I let love bleed out of me over and over again. I move back home, and then I move away. I had a cactus I kept in a pot for years and years when I was a teenager. I refused to plant it in the soil, telling myself I would do so when I finally had my own place. I kept it alive, but it never grew like it should. And I wonder sometimes if I've been keeping myself in a pot for all these years, never having committed to fully staying here. Nothing has rooted me here. I have no anchor point. I could pick up those same 2 suitcases tomorrow and be gone. I haven't accepted that I have immigrated, that I'm going to be an American forever and ever, that I will live out my days here, that I won't be there to watch my nephews grow up, my parents die. Because to accept that I'm here is to accept the loss of what I'll be leaving behind forever, and I refuse to do that. I will never get over the sorrow of leaving home. I want to have it all. And if I plant myself here, I can't plant myself there. But I can't plant a bit in each place. I can only really occupy one life. Eventually, I'm going to have to choose the life I want to have, which version of me I want to be. I planted my cactus in my parents' backyard. Is love where we shrink ourselves to belong, to fit in, or where we expand ourselves to stand out? Is love to fully be me here, or is love to bend and be who they want me to be there? I'm beyond privileged to be living the life I chose, but I've also sentenced myself. Most days when I'm alone in my apartment, I'm joyous and I love it. Days where I stroll to the subway carrying my cortado and swinging my tote bag and feel exhilarated to be living a life I could have never even dreamed about as a child. I love it here. I'm all of me here. I thrive here. I'm a boss here. I belong here. And not a single person in my family has ever left home. So there are days that are heart-wrenching and soul-crushing and crippling, where I wonder why the fuck I'm alone in an apartment on the other side of the world, away from the people I love the most. Days where I feel alien and out of place and asking how on earth did I get here. On those days, I don't think of everything I gained by leaving home and what I hated. Instead, I think of what I gave up. On those days, I feel like I'm estranged. Like I've been condemned to never belonging, never feeling like I made it home, to always feeling rootless, only I was the one who chose it. One of the writers I like wrote, "Never leave your homeland. Leave and your connections to the source will be severed. You will be like a dead trunk, hard and hollow." So what do you do when you cannot leave and you cannot return? I will always live my life missing someone, something, someplace. I will always be abandoned in a home. I will always be someone of complexity and nuance, but also fragmented and split. I will never belong anywhere, and I will belong everywhere. Love, for me, is home. And love, for me, is also abandoning home. I am free, I am trapped, I am lost, I am home. Thank you.
Wow. All right, next up we have Asad Manan, who's going to talk about death of a romantic. Asad is a proud Brooklynite. Any other Brooklyn people in the house? A lot of people Brooklyn represent. Where else is everyone from? Queens? Bronx? Manhattan? New Jersey? Not today, they usually come out strong. All right, everyone give up Asad. Asad is a crisis chaplain, and he's a doctoral student in public health. You ready to go? All right, give up Asad. Asad Manan.
Assalamu alaikum. So this is like my first time. And it was, well, I put my name always in the app and never got picked, so this is like my first time. It's actually the first time, speaking on the topic of love. Usually I speak about spirituality and like the ego and stuff. So before I begin, I'd like to give a little disclaimer. I call it the F-boy warning. This world is full of psychotic sins, false love, and murderous things. Words become psychedelic guns, and tongues kill as they sing. So because this is gonna get really dark. So I want to start off with
Do it again.
Muhammad Ali's competition.
with a joke, but for some reason my notes are not loading.
Woo! You got this!
Alright, so we're at the blockchain center, right? So if you guys want to go through emotional turbulence, don't invest on a significant other. Invest in crypto, the future of relationships. So the first poem, I haven't really named it, but I'll start. While I romance with a pen in my hand, elite my desires on a blank canvas, a hopeless and too meaningless items. As my brain poured out, we began to converse. I spoke, the pen and paper listened. If only humans could be of such worth. So this one I call when a stranger doesn't pay the fare. So why is that we fall for strangers? People whom we just met. People whom we haven't gazed into their eyes because that's where their soul is kept. But we feel as if our souls were created in pairs, yet with this logic we create despair. When the stranger is merely a stranger, we think the pain is fair. That you can have no rights over the stranger, but the stranger can inject a pain you cannot bear. The last part got cut off, but I let a stranger in and he hopped the turnstile without paying the fare. It's us, the ones with the creative minds. We fall in love with broken people, thinking we can create a masterpiece, trying to put them back together. Oh, how wicked our minds deceive us. We just end up broken too. And it is said we are created in pairs, but I'm cursed with my darkness. Maybe my shadow is the one who I am destined for. It never leaves my side when the sun shines, and escapes to my head in comfort during the absence of light. And this is the last one. I want to give a trigger warning. It does talk about touchy topics like suicide. I call it death of the romantic. So it's more of a symbolism. There was a guy who loved her so much, does everything for her though she doesn't see such. He gives all that she's been asking for, though she couldn't give him a perfect score. One night, the guy saw her with another one in the park, hugging so tight they were kissing in the dark. He was upset, so he went straight home, locked himself in the room with so much hate. He took a rope, swirled it around his neck, hanged himself down, everything was wrecked. His mother knocked on his door, but she just felt a cold air down to her core. His mother shouted for help so they could check what's beyond. When they opened the door, they saw a note in his hand. Everyone was shocked to see him hanging. When they have read the note, it sadly was saying, "Kindly dig my grave, dig it deep, using marble stone from head to feet. And in the stone, please engrave a dove to show the world that I died for love." Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, it's hard coming up here talking about that stuff. Give it up, us banana. I was like, I could never do that. All right, next up, I want to change the mood. We have the incredible Georgia Halliday, who I like to call her, is like the Muslim Taylor Swift with a ukulele. Georgia is an OG MWC supporter, performer, champion. Georgia, thank you, and welcome back to Muslim Writers Collective.
I think, is calling me Muslim Taylor Swift racist? I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, she's got a lot of money, so I don't totally mind the comparison. It's like, you know, I don't know. The Goldie factor is strong within me. So my parents have been together since 1979, mashallah. And my dad told me this story about how when they were first together, my dad still lived in Cotonou, which is like a little bit upstate from here, and my mom lived in Boston. And so on Friday nights or Friday afternoons, he would like run out of work, like 5:01. He was in the car on the highway, knowing my dad driving very much over the speed limit. And he would drive, take a couple hours, and he would get to my mom's apartment, and it would sort of be dark by then. And my mom like lived on like the second floor of this apartment building, and it didn't have like a door buzzer, so you had to actually come down the stairs and let the person in. And my dad said that there was like a window in the door that looked in on the stairs, but it was like a small window, so you could only see like 1 or 2 stairs. And so when she came down to open the door for him, she would kind of appear in like sections. Like you'd sort of see her feet, and then like her knees, and then her torso, and then her face, and then she'd like be there at the door. And the way this man's face like lights up when he tells this like 40-year-old story is like, mashallah, that's love. So I wrote a song about that, and it's called Footsteps on the Stairs. And because Hamdan doesn't tell us the themes until 2 days before the thing happens, it was finished this morning. Here goes. Oops. And my ukulele has detuned itself. There we go. This house is not a home, my love. My dreams may not come true. I have nowhere to lay my head down until I get to you. My heart will not find rest, my love, until I reach you there, where the road stops running and I hear the drumming of your footsteps on the stairs. My hands are stained, my eyes are sore and weary from the road, and she appears in pieces to save me from my load. My heart will not find rest, my love, until I reach you there, where the road stops running and I hear the drumming of your footsteps on the stairs. Save me Sunday papers from across the pond. Save me from the monsters in the dark. Sorry? All the letters from the contact sheets. I've forgotten all the words, I'm sorry. Pick me up across on from the park. My heart will not find rest, my love, until I reach you there, where the road stops running and I hear the drumming of your footsteps on the stairs.
Everyone give it up, Georgia Halliday. Georgia Halliday. Incredible. All right, next up we have a young man, Mohammed Dean. Are you in the house? Dean? Where's Dean? All right, Dean is in the house. I met Dean like a few years ago, randomly, and he said, you know, at like a Pakistani event, and my parents know his parents, and he's like, I do spoken word. Do you know what that is? I was like, I know what that is. He's like, no uncles know what that is. I'm like, I'm not an uncle. I know, right? He's like 19, he's like cool and hip, and he's like, he has nice hair. Come on up here, Dean, he's shy. And I was like, I know what spoken word is, and I run an open mic, you gotta come perform. He's like, I don't believe you. And I was like, Dean, this is for real, so I texted him today. This is Dean, he's a spoken word artist, I think he's 19 years old. Everyone give a warm welcome. Mohammed Dean, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
Thank you for everyone who's been here and who shared the stage with me. Thank you, Imnan. I'm finally here after like 3 years. So he gave me the invitation when I was 19, and now I'm 22, and I'm here to repay the favor. Because you know, one thing about Muslims is we have to stay true to our words, even if it's 3 years later. So I'm here. So the piece I wrote is The Brown American Dream. Convince my people to hate our shade. Cut us with our own blade, your wicked ways. You attack like a snake, then slithered away. Stole my people's accomplishments, labeled us incompetent, kept us around novice, but I'm still brown and confident. Making me hate the melanin of my woman. Watered me after destroying my roots, but I still grew on concrete. The rhythm changed soon as I got on the beat. They feared because I embraced what I was supposed to hate. Yes. They set the pace for me to lose the race. I still stole the show at a lower stage. Go. Kids not even 22 seen over 22's. Ooh. They can't walk in our shoes, but they still tell us what path to choose. Say we're not American, criticize our ethnicity, blind who see it vividly, destroy every epiphany. They take away our history. The higher I go, the lighter the tone. Darkness got me feeling alone. Like what place is home? The place demonized in the news, or the place where you're demonized like it ain't nothing new? Twist society's perception till we hate our own reflection subconsciously, standardized to their beauty. Labels by my people, guys believing through fables, saying we're Cain and their bloodline Abel. Am I able to be free, dream for the American dream? In reality, it's a nightmare. Life ain't fair. For immigrants, life they're fair to ride the ride of the American dream. Fair, it may seem, but it'll never be fair. Black and brown people fighting in a corner store. So they're distracted on how they got to the corner store. They gave us the key, but put a lock on the door. Glass ceiling to success too clear to see, so we remain poor. Rule us with divide and rule, because they knew through unity we'll come together. And maybe we'll leave all these people, maybe we'll leave all these labels and understand we're all just people, because love is what makes us people. Go.
Yo, my favorite part, everyone's favorite part on this side of the room was the hair flip. They were swooning. You like did that hair thing. I used to be able to do that, but I can't anymore. So I'm gonna grow my hair out again. Wow, that was Dean. All right, next up we have Muhajir. Muhajir, his bio, he hails from the lands of the Shaolin Kings, which is incredible. I don't know what that means, but I think it's big time. Everyone give it up. Muhajir, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
How's everybody doing? I don't like writing about myself, so when he asked for a bio, I kind of put that in as a joke. I didn't know he was going to read it out loud. Whoops. Alright, so I got one good poem, and if you guys like it, then I will read another one. You have pulled off the greatest heist of all time. You've stolen a man's heart and yet left him more alive. Surely love has nothing to do with these mortal lives. I give mine up to see you without these mortal eyes. Even this flesh is an obstacle, a borderline I can't wait to cross and with you be immortalized. Even an atom's distance between us leaves me mortified. Eve and Adam's distance between us would be more to my preference, where you'd be a part of me. Lord, am I crazy, or did you fashion her from my rib? I swore that I had phantom limb pain inside of my chest like mortar fire. But it fades within her presence and I feel fortified. What havoc has she wreaked that I'm waiting for demise? When waiting for death, a lifetime feels like 4 to 5. Some say there's nothing more to death, but there's more to mine. I'm soon to run out of space in this chest. I'm in a war with time. See, space and time can't contain all this love. Oh, Lord of mine has fashioned you a wonderful form, but what's more divine, I don't love your vessel, I love your immortal shine, and my heart loves your soul even more than mine. Okay, that's what we all wish.
All right, give it up, Muhajir. Next up, we have someone who's incredible. I am his biggest fan in this room. Last time I was in awe, I am still in awe. Umrao Shan Noorani, welcome back. Muslim Writers Collective.
These guys are nice. And y'all too need to link up after and keep working together. Because y'all are nice with the rhythm. Okay, I'm gonna go there. My name is Umrao Shan. This is a piece called I'm not talk for so long he beat all the air out of the ball. Hold on. This is a piece called Miss Badu and the Magic Potion. That day when I walked into the shopkeeper's tent, my heart had so much fire in it. I thought there was a whole squad in there. And what happened was I had come to this city to find the cerulean blues of the Broadway, try to sing my show tunes on Broadway, and I tasted the chaos and the pure joy of the stage for the first time. And I looked around and I opened my eyes and I've seen all you and I've seen all this, and something happened to me that when I walk around outside of here, life doesn't mean the same as what it does on stage. I found a divided ego and a divided self. There is something different. So I started to have this growing concern. There was this worry I had that, I was gonna lose it, that I became this stammering, stuttering self outside of the stage. And I was like, what if I get up there one day and I don't know what to say? So I did what a lot of writers before me have done. I started drinking wine. So the shopkeeper, she comes and she puts her hand up on my chest. She gets right up on me and she says, you need to stop all that bumping and thumping, because I have other guests over here. And I'm trying to look at her. She's taller than me. She has these white platform shoes. She's had an afro and purple sunglasses. I can't see her eyes behind. And she's got these blue-green resin earrings that are dancing around like little dervishes as she talks. And she puts her hand on me and she's like, slow down, get that rhythm. She had these bangles on her. She taps a slow rhythm into my chest, like the intro of a Pharrell song, like rim shots, like a hi-hat. She goes, tss, tss. Then my heart finally slowed down, and the jazz drummers finally got out of there, and I got myself and I said, I'm here to find a bottle of wine. Can you help me? And she said, son, this is an herbal medicine store. What are you talking about? But follow me. So I follow her. She's turning her head, so I'm turning my head. She turns it that way, I turn it that way, and I'm seeing all these potions of like singing potions. And then we go to a smaller section of the shop, and there are these beautiful Netsuki style, like garden hairs and snakes shaped containers and guitars, and in these are spices and healing potions. And just then a small black cat walks in, and the shopkeeper picks it up and she says, hi, Miss Badula, I've been expecting you. She hands me the cat. She says, I think this cat wants you to sing. What are you here to sing? And I sang a simple morning raga. I sang like, I think we can do it if we try, if only to say, you're mine. TikTok, so free to know that you and I shouldn't feel like a crime. Okay, so I sing this simple song and the cats are jumping on the shelves and bumping stuff around, and she kicks a little bottle of wine in my hand and I look at it and I behold it. And it says Kayalat, it says Kayalat. And what that lady said to me after that, I wrote down, she said to me, She said to me, "Do you know this wine, son? How did it find you?" I nodded along, saying, "Yeah, I know it. I just know it." And she said, "No, I asked you a question. Have you not known this elixir we call intoxicant? Have you not pondered not on wine but on water and its wrongful depth, the pain and terror of its clear color? Have you not been so summoned by your own reflection that you feel genuinely afraid?" And I said, No, I'm not afraid of water. I'm here because I'm afraid of my divided self. You know, like Dionysius and Apollo, Jekyll and Hyde, Layla was telling me about it today. You know, stuff like that. I'm just scared of these divisions, my onstage and offstage. And she hands this bottle, well, I had the bottle, she says, "You are yearning for an obfuscation, for such a deep red, ke chand ko dekh ke, adi raat asman aur sitaro ke anjuman mein, sirf ek soch, ghazal khayalat ka rang hai." Aayegi, aane wali aayegi. Rest in peace to Lakshya Mangeshwar. So I take the bottle of wine, and I go back to my place. For a while, I had these conservative sensibilities. They're half from the South and half from Karachi. So I didn't really want to mess with it. And then one day I just let it touch my lips because it was bothering me. And I felt a warmth that was a real warmth. You know, like a real warmth, like a hug from the inside. And I stopped feeling divided. I felt like one, like I wasn't trying to perform anymore. Like I just was. Like Eurydice was just pulling the song out of me. You know what I'm saying? Like and it felt good, and then until it didn't, right? Because she's singing this song, Kayala. She's singing this song, and I don't know what it is. So I ask her, and she one day she opens herself up to me, and it's that song. दिल चीज़ क्या है आप मैंने जान लीजिए. This is why I'm not a singer. But look, she sings to me. This is why she sings to me. She says, "One day you're just gonna finish me like a bottle of wine, and you'll forget me, but I'll never forget you." And I say, "No, Kale, I'll always remember you. You know." And she says, "No, you won't. We'll just drink me and then go back to the next one." And then I start going on stage, and all I can think about is what she said to me. When I'm performing, all I can think about is what she said to me, that I'm going to forget her. And I'm on stage, and all I can think about is when I would hold her in a glass and look through her at the moon moondeling in the sky, like these two bright orange things, the way she affected the tint, like she made it the most beautiful orange moon I've ever seen. And I could only think about her, and so naturally I went back to the shopkeeper's tent. And I said, "What did you do to me? What did you give me?" And she says, "I don't have time. It's time for the next performer, so get it over with, right?" So she hands me the cash. She says, "Sing your last song." And I sang, what's the last song? Dude, I said I was going to cut it short because the last song was... No, I'm trying to think. It's that Euphoria song, the race car one. I'll just go back to the beginning. What a beautiful place I have found in this place that is circling all around the sun. When we meet on a cloud, I'll be laughing out loud, I'll be laughing at everyone I see. Can't believe how strange it is to be anything at all. My name's Miraj Shah.
Everyone give it up for Miraj Shah. Wow. That was incredible. One of the cheat codes of doing this for so long is I get to watch everyone and just take the best from everyone and still suck up here, so that's what I get to do. But the thing I took from Miraj Shah last time is he was telling a story and then he broke out into song in the middle of it, and the room was just crying. They were like, wow. So anyway, I learned that from Miraj Shah, and it's dope. It's dope when he does it well. Give it up. Next up we have a Yusuf Siddiq. Do we have Yusuf Siddiq in the house? All right, everyone, let's do a warm welcome. Yusuf Siddiq, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. You got this, yeah, just go all the way around and then come here. All right, we got this. Everyone give it up again, Yusuf.
Assalamu alaikum. This poem I'm about to perform is called If Home Is Where the Heart Lies. It's part of a collection of poems that I'm recording called Athens Chronicles into the Abyss. The first video from that will be posted online in about a week or so called While You Were Sleeping Part 2 with my friends from Vietnam. So, y'all could, just take note of that. So, without further ado, this is If Home Is Where the Heart Lies. If home is where the heart lies, then I guess that dark corner in my room is mine. For it is where I can spread my wings and fly. It is where I find my creative mind. I must be a magician, but maybe it's all in my mind. 'Cause I snap my fingers and close my eyes. I must be a magician, but maybe it's all in my mind. 'Cause then I open my eyes and I find myself in that dark corner, but it's fine. For it is the only place I found my sight, for I have been nearly blind my entire life, and I finally am able to see the skies. I can reach form and touch the clouds and feel them escape through my fingers. I suddenly become one with them. I become fluid like the wind, I fly. I can finally become the phoenix and rise. If home is where the heart lies. If home is where the heart lies, then I guess I used to be a rolling stone, being kicked around with my final destination never known. Where will I sleep today? Will I be sheltered, or will I get sick from the cold? Just laying there, bare body with the cloudy night skies as my blanket, and I was told that sometimes the best you can feel is when you're alone. But what if growing up that's all you've known? When you've been a castaway, a misfit. And sometimes people try to say that they empathize and they get it, they really don't, and they try to say you do when you don't, it's just treacherous. But what happens when you stumble upon a kindred soul? Do they now become your home? If home is where the heart lies, I guess so. Thank you.
Yusuf Sadiq, everyone. Next up we have the performer whose the title of her poem really hit me very hard, and I'm so glad we get to hear it. It's called To the One Brave Enough to Love Me. That's deep, right? Because love requires bravery. And everyone, let's give a warm welcome. Kam Traore Kamade, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. Yeah, of course.
So when I was 18 years old, I agreed to an arranged marriage because I was one of the little girls that grew up and I wanted to be in love, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in this. 10 years later, I ended up in a divorce. And through that journey, I was brave enough to know that I want to get remarried, and I wrote letters to whoever that man would be into different journeys or different parts of my healing. To the one that will be brave enough to love me. I may be no good for you. Chances are I may even hurt you. And the truth is I don't mean to. There's no peace left in me, just pieces left of me, sharp edges I never tended to. How can I mend you when I am broken? How can I defend you when I am a victim? Certainly I will hurt you. The voices in my head will tell me to destroy us. They will convince me that they will convince me that you deserve better. Very often I play the villain in my own story. My cape is not for saving, it's for fleeing. I will leave you. Watch you starve as I give you only bits of myself. I will trace the names of all the boys who have hurt me in the hollow spaces of your ribs. Men who left me to believe that I would never be enough for you, and chances are I will try to be. I write you this poem as a disclaimer, a warning to tread lightly in hopes that you will still choose me. That you will see my cracks and still choose me. You will see the risk in loving me and still take it. You'll see my pieces and still want me. You'll see my demons and still pray for me. You'll see my sins and still love me wholly. You will sense my self-battle and you will still fight for me. And when I try to leave, you will still hold me. Chances are I may hurt you, but I'll be the sweetest pain you've ever felt. I promise to be worth the healing. So to the person brave enough to love me, please know, I have prayed for you. Before ever hearing your voice or knowing your name, I believed in you. I know my Lord creates in the most beautiful way, so I asked him to create you. I pray that your heart be pure and spacious, for I come with baggage, histories and memories of the places I have been, scars and trophies from the battles I have won. So to the one that will be brave enough to love me, please know I have fought for you. I have prayed for you. I pray that your voice be gentle and your smile be sweet. I pray that your patience be thick and your forgiveness run deep. I pray for you. But most importantly, I pray for me. May Allah heal the wounds that intimidate and paralyze me. May I be welcome enough for you to find home in me. If the whole world shall plan against you, may I be secure enough to be your safe haven. In the days when I insist on keeping my guard up, may I surrender to you. For I trust I am in no danger with you. May I be enough for you. Leave no room for you to ever need more. To the one brave enough to love me, please know that I will love you unapologetically. No scent of skin will be left on our skins. I will hold you. Rest your head on the bed of stretch marks on my belly. Ingest me, digest me as you undress me. Learn all my marks that have no beauty in them. You will forgive me. Trust that I am holy even though you found me empty. Know that I will offer you plenty. I will love you in the morning sunlight. I won't hide you. I will make tahajjud for you. Wake up in the third half of the night. Find my prayer mat in the dark. Yes, I will pray for you. Ask Allah to reunite us in the hollow halls of Jannah. This dunya will not be enough for us. I will give you my pieces. Find my peace in you. I will trust you. Remove every brick from the wall that protects me and build a home with you. Create room behind your ribs so my kids will have a place to live in the depths of your heart. Remove the step out of father. You will love them as if they were yours. Call them your soulmate. I will tell you about my demons, so on days when you shall see them, you know that I am fighting. And on days when you come home and it seems like I'm losing, you will be patient with me. And when I ask that you wait on the other side of my healing, you will say you much rather walk beside me. You will guide me. And if ever we were to get lost, we will become an island, surround ourselves with holy water, so on the days when it feels like we are drowning, there will still be blessing in our suffering. To the one that will be brave enough to love me, please know I am praying for us. Our love will be the beautiful testimony of Allah's mercy and bounties. May I be your sister in Islam, your friend, your companion, and your partner and your lover. You can find me on Instagram at PrayHealRight. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. Give it up. Kamade, to the one brave enough to love me. All right, next up we have Inshira Khalifa, who's going to be reading An Ocean. Inshira, are you in the house? All right, everyone give it up. Inshira Khalifa. No, that's not Inshira Khalifa. Inshira Khalifa. Going once, twice, 3 times. No Inshira Khalifa. Okay. She's awesome, I'm sure. What about it's like I got ghosted over here, you know, at an open mic. And what about Marwa? We have Marwa Abdullah in the house. Everyone give it up. Marwa Abdullah, love is freeing. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me. I'm going to start. So I actually love this theme, and that is this is a short excerpt from a work in progress. So so love is knowing you are enough. But how? When most of us are never told we are enough, when most of us are fleeing from that which chains us, from that which holds us, from that which binds us, and from that which mars us. Invulnerability, the juxtaposition of wanting to explore everything and anything around us except for us. and it keeps love from reaching us. Shame and blame. The false idols created to dull our light and rob our inner peace. But it is from within that we begin to understand what true love truly is. Love is learning to love and re-love yourself. Love is admitting you do not know how to love, but you will try to love yourself. For how can you love another when you haven't yet begun to love yourself? Love is loving yourself even in resistance. Resistance to the very love you want, the very love you need. Love is asking for help. Love is trusting yourself enough to let go, to be open, to receive. For love is more than just giving. It's accepting of the truth of who you are as you are, of the truth of your beloved as they are and as they may be. For love is not static. It frees as much as it binds us to one another. Are you loving in the present as the present, or are you confined only to your past? For love is ever present, within you, within me, within us. The love you seek seeks you, the love I seek seeks me, the love we seek seeks us, our reflection. For love is you, love is me, love is us. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Next up we have, you're going to go right after this, but this, I told this person you can go. It's hard, all right. Karen Masood, everyone welcome Karen Masood, Muslim Writers Collective.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much for all of you that stuck it out till the end. Okay, so love. Love is my brother returning home after burying his son. My nephew's returning as 3/4 instead of as a whole, as one. How is this love? You'll come to see. Like me. The processing finally started. My phone didn't ring from those who should have been calling. My birthday came and went, but not with those who I had spent countless hours celebrating previously. The baton was passed to others to take care of me, reminding me that we are where we choose to be, so those people chose to be freed of my responsibility, catapulting me into a whole new reality. Love. Love is when we are humbled to our knees, forehead to the ground, until He invites us to sit up, stand tall, again, and again, and again, and again, and again. 5 times a day we are invited to experience real love. There will be no other place as consistent. There will be no other place as available. This is love. For although He did not cause the tears, He directed my tears to have a purpose, clearing my vision to be awakened to the truth of those around me. How scary to see what you didn't see previously. God whispered to me as I looked to the community that should have been first in line for me. Adding more Muslims to spaces of power is to be commended, but all I ask and recommend is, how are you placing your power to make others feel empowered regardless of their position? For although He did not cause my anger, He channeled my anger into therapy, both mentally and physically, adding layer after layer so that I could bear the weight of this life, from squatting 10 pounds to now 93. Do I lift, bro? Yeah, I lift, bro. I also uplift, bro. To share the weight of those who are unable to bear the burden is why God was armoring me, sending me an army of love that soldiered on with me. Most of whom I never imagined would be the ones to be healing me, would be the ones to be healing me. It wasn't only I that was deadlifting, it was the dead that was lifting me. Hassan was emboldening me. Left hooks and uppercuts as I released my anger on the punching bags emotionally shut. Just because you do not see a woman outwardly enraged in your face, do not be fooled, for he has regulated me because he knows that he's going to need me to fight, just more productively. Love is God taking the life of my 3-year-old nephew while leaving behind the lives of the other 3. Sure, he caused me this grief, but not without providing me the remedy. Love is resuscitation of my life, recitation in my life, and rest to prepare to fight and sustain my life. Love is making my skin a little thicker, a little realer, leaving behind a little bit of my jersey and tapping into my queens. Reminding me that love is not a promise of reciprocity, it is only a promise of coming back eventually. On what terms, on whose terms, when, from whom, that is not part of the agreement, but return to you, it will be. Rising from the ashes of Hassan's sacrifice reminded me of the sacrifice of so many. Kashmir, Yemen, Somalia, Palestine, Iraq, Ukraine. How can so many suffer? Why do I get to remain? In an effort to help find my answer, Hassan has helped to raise over $10,000 to help hospitals in Pakistan. Because of Hassan, I have met with the offices of congressmen to fight for the passing of bills in support of the right of Palestinians. I have met with national coalitions to include the missing stories from our curricula so we don't have to ask our students to settle for the settlers' histories over the narratives of the natives. Hassan has inspired the start of a program to ensure that students have a space to talk about any topic on their minds: religion, sex, politics, gender, race. Students having their books banned, sure as hell not mine. He's only one life, and look at all Hassan has done. So when we ask, how could God let this happen? I will not pretend to justify or simplify, but I will say that infinitesimal shifts are happening between you and I that will ultimately lead to something, that will lead to something, that will lead to something. I know what the loss of Hassan has done for me, the masks that were revealed and unveiled, burned into my memory, scarring my skin, infuriating my truth, but invigorating my soul. I pray you find the same revelations and destiny. Love is not what you should do. It is something you will either be so deprived of that you will eventually crave it, seek it in some of the right places and some of the wrong ones, or it will be something you are so full of you'll be eager to give some away. You see, either way, it cannot be forced. It will find its path either toward or away from you. When all of the questions, love is also an answer. When they say love isn't everything, I say, but everything is in love. When they say round holes don't fit into square pegs, I say, just make the square bigger. That's what his love would do. What of human love? Love is your deepest trauma married to your deepest desires. Love is whatever you were told it is. Sweetheart, love is whatever you were shown it is. It is the narrative of your soul using experiences of our lives as the ink to write the pages. Please ensure the ink you are using is your own. Please ensure the ink you are using is not copy-pasted, screenshotted, or simply image-conscious. Seeking spaces that feel like home without realizing that home is not of this world. Angels guiding us to our destiny and devils distracting us to convince us that what is bad is good and what is good is boring. Pain is born when the decisions we are making are not aligned with the plan that God has for us. Love is pain that is true. That is Him redirecting you. Love is mourning those who have passed on, sometimes even worse, those who are living. Either way, when the sun rises in the morning, I hope you fight, but make the choice to keep on giving. 3 years. Hassan was granted 3 years. I will not see his mischievous eyes, feel his generous hugs, or hear his words of I love you. But you know what is still here? His love is. When someone passes away in Islam, we say, indeed, to Allah we belong, and to Allah we shall return. To belong, to return, return to whom we belong. Is that not what love is? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Wow. Next up, we have Inshira Khalifa. Inshira Khalifa, welcome to Muslim Writers Collective. She's actually here. She was not ghosting us. She was just in the other room. Inshira, welcome.
All along, he reminds me of fear. He doesn't cuddle up near. His focus is perfect, but it's not on me. It's cool, I understand, we've been through and through. I've made so many mistakes trying to get true. Mandatory story is almost through. The love we share has went just too much. He wonders why I keep up the fights. He's tired, he's busy. The kids come first. I trust and believe he's gonna be heard. I love like I live as truthfully as possible. It's not gonna work out, it's not probable. I trip over words loving him like this. In the beginning it was fast, hard, and grin. He couldn't keep a smile off my face. I see him, don't see him, it's all the same. Then slowly we drifted, my fault of course. We steered that ship off Bermuda Triangle. We kept looking for it, but it wasn't at any port. I left, I came back, and still looking for that. It's a shame how we started with it explained. I hope he finds his perfect love's treasure. He's a good man by everyone's measure. It just wasn't right, us two, I see now. I lost my best friend and I don't know how. Am I safe with you? I want to know. Can I put my bags down and let my softness show? Can I relinquish my energy fighting those in them? Can I depend on you to be my friend? It's been forever since I've had a clue. Trusting in the law is nothing new. Show me the signs to let my guard down. Am I safe with you not to be a clown? I stood tall, held my head up. I don't even understand how I gave up or what. Well, I didn't until I met the real me. The one that's not perfect as can be. I met my heart running towards Allah, scared out of my mind. He took my pain away, made me feel fine. I took hold of my deepest regret. I faced my hurt and acknowledged it yet. Am I safe with you? I want to know. Can I put my bags down and let my softness show? Can I trust you to be who and what you say? Or should I hold my bags for you today? That is from my book called Emotion. You can turn on anybody.
Thank you. Next up we have Sadie Cisse. He came all the way from the Poconos, 4 hours through the mountains and blizzards, I think, just to perform at MWC. Give it up, Sadie. Welcome to the Fresh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So there's a lot of beautiful people in the house today. You know, I want to give a great shout out to my brother Nas for inviting me to this great event. My brother, you know, for doing his thing and everybody that was performing today. So I'm not fully prepared for the topic of love, but I'll give some feedback on how I feel about love. So I feel like love is a purpose, not necessarily a feeling. You know, when it comes down to a purpose in life and how I see purpose in life, the purpose for us all is to create, you know, more life. So with that being said, I have a poem called More Life that I would like to share with everybody. And it's interactive. So if you guys that are sitting down, if you could, you know, make a beat with me. So 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. Yeah, 1, 2. Okay, keep that going for me. Good. Yeah. So everybody in the world has a story to tell. Some more glorified than others. Humanity began in the womb of a mother for most of us. But a seed that could succeed under the, I don't know if we're getting the rhythm right, but Just keep it real, we all in this together. I love the laughter, so I'm gonna start over again, yo. We don't need the rhythm, we tried it though. I love it.
Where's Finas?
So again, the name of this poem is More Life.
We have a beatboxer. You want to beatbox? Finas. Nice.
All right. And also there will be a part when I say more life, if you guys don't mind replying more life, okay? So, everybody in the world has a story to tell. Everybody in the world has a story to tell, some more glorified than others. Humanity began in the womb of a mother for most of us, by a seed that could succeed under the right circumstances. And here I stand today wishing you more life. Because life itself began so purposefully. If only you knew. Having a mentality that creates rather than destroys can employ all of us with the necessary tools to build necessary circumstances that support the success of us all as humanity. So, I don't know what that. You guys mean? Oh, okay. Stay in the middle here. Okay, I'm moving too much. All right. So when you see a brother hopeless, ready to pull the trigger, wish him more life. When you see a single mother struggling to feed her kids, wish her more life. When you see a lost soul with no direction to go, wish him more life. When you see the black fiend searching to get a fix, wish him more life. Hey, getting a little distracted, but that's okay. I'ma kick the ride. Now let me stop. When you see the black fiend searching to get a fix, wish him more life. When you see the school bully acting out for attention, wish him more life. When the undercover racist is figured out and discovered, wish him more life. When the school system fails and lives ending in prison, wish him more life. This world we live in together. So let's wish it more life and take on a mindset that creates rather than destroys. Thank you. Much love. We made it happen.
Give it up, Sadie Cisse. Next up, we have Ahmed Amire. Ahmed, are you in the house? Oh, he brought his whole crew. Wow. He brought his entourage. Everyone give it up, Ahmed Amire. Welcome to Muslim Writers Collective.
I have a tendency to like eat the microphone, so. Alright. So, I'm Palestinian. And to that means I'm gonna share a poem about Palestine. But to that extent, it's related to just kind of this love for home that you also just can't be connected to because there's like this movement to sort of just keep you away from your home. And so I think about past times that I've been, but not enough about the next time and what I want that next time to look like. So this is that. One way. No return flight this time. Linda Airport is so busy. Flight after flight, no departures, only arrivals. No, not arrivals, returners, not tourists, but tenants, refugees with re-nourished roots reaching across the diaspora, recoiling. This time is different. There's no 8-hour interrogation this time. The only question is, where do we start? My family waves through the window as the bus to El Bira bustles off. I won't go to El Bira just yet. No, Mustafa rebuilt his home, so I started in Jerusalem. We sit for tea with mint picked from his garden. He had no room for a garden in the camp. Now he nurtures Nana, shadowed by the Wadi, surrounded by Kusa, rocks reserved for slingshots and worn, but young hands build a barrier for the soil. We walk to Bab al-Amud, enter the old city, and hunt down Ma'mul. This city is different. It's less packed, there's more people but no guns. It's harder to walk but easier to breathe. There's no confrontations, congested with alleged complication. This sea of black and white kufiyya knows no shades of gray. Now to Bethlehem with Mustafa, he still comes a lot, still gives tours. We play soccer on Khalil Street with Ali and Mohammed. Samar never liked soccer, but he eggs us on. We play with more room now. There's no wall now. Sam has nothing to lean against now. He can't occupy the soldier's tower. There's no more tower, no more wall. He intervenes to settle disputes. There's no more soldiers officiating our matches with AR-15s. See, this time is different. Our referee won't default to the red card. There's no more red cards. I'm tired. We breathe heavy from running and not from gas. This time is different. Ali's juice stand is nearby. Reminiscent for me as we walk to Aida, still a symbol of resilience. We look up at the key on the arch, reach into our pockets, feel the grooves in our own, and smile. We carry keys, but we don't lock our doors. Doors are always open. Porches populated with aunts and uncles, Adila and Biza, kids running the streets, playing tag, but this time is different. There's no more tanks, no more jeeps chasing the kids down. Kids run from kids, scared of a friendly but competitive hand. Fear is fun now. Protests turned into potlucks, prisons to playgrounds. Even the clouds are different this time. They're further away this time. We look to them and not through them. They're made of water from the Galilee, not of gas from American shells. Finally, I go back to Riyadh. My family is waiting. In America, I go on Google Maps at night, Street View, roaming roads I hope to walk on next time. Upset when the arrow disappears, I want to see where the road ends, learning these roads because my time is always limited, but this time is different. There's no visa, there's no limits. I have Hawiya this time, I have Hariya this time. There's no nights on Street View. I leave the house again. The night is young and we spend every night in the streets. And I live on Palestine Street, just a short stroll from the bright lights and bustling Martyrs Square. There's no more Street View, no more maps, no more martyrs, no return flight, but my phone stays on airplane mode and I'm wandering. From Al-Bira to Al-Tira, from Martyrs Square to Mandela Square, past the bounds of the old wall, I keep going and I'm lost and it's dark. This is where the arrow ended and there's no more road, but old frustrations are replaced with fear, but fear is fun. Now there's no maps, no rush, no visa or occupation to make me leave. It's just as I dreamed. I'm lost in my homeland with a lifetime to find my way and I won't leave this time. I'll walk above it or lay below it, but I'm not leaving this time because this time is different. Till now, my mind could never be stripped of this place. Eidetic memories of arbitrary encounters resurface at the most trivial of triggers. Now my feet have too much love for this soil, my lungs too much love for this air, my eyes too much love for the viscous flowing qatar filling every kataifi crevice in a slice of kanafa. Love that blossoms from every seed sprouting into an olive tree. Love that reaches the bottom of the Dead Sea as all else stays afloat. A love that we were forced to cater from a distance until now. Because this time is different.
All right, everyone. We have 3 more speakers. I don't think we need the mic anymore. We all know each other. We're all family. I don't know how to turn it off. Just hold it. All right, thank you. Can you guys hear me? Yep. All right. This is when it gets real. So we have 3 more speakers. I don't know where I put the names of the speakers. All right, Isa Salahuddin. Do we have Isa in the house? Isa Salahuddin is no longer here. Okay, good. So that means we have 2 more speakers. 2 more speakers. Do we have Anika Mia still in the house? No. Okay, so that means we have 1 more speaker. Wow. Okay. I'm trying to find the name of the speaker. We might even have 0 speakers. I think we have. Then I find out if there are more samosas and chai, because I did not have any samosas or chai. Wait, did anyone else sign up to perform who didn't perform yet? Right here. Her? I'm done. You too? Oh my, a lot of people. Oh, Sabina Khan. Sabina Khan, is she still here? She's not here. Okay, whoever raised your hand, just come up. You raise your hand. Who else? Sarah? Yeah, Sarah, come on. All right, everyone, welcome Sarah, Kosha. Oh, a lot of people. All right, you guys are going to go up. Welcome.
I've never performed in my life. I'm not sure what am I doing here after you guys. But I guess I just need to speak for myself rather than for you guys. I'm sorry. We can't hear you.
I got it. I'm sorry.
Wait, 1 second.
What's happening?
No, you cannot. Okay. Go on.
a girl performing for the first time for the sake of love. But as a friend said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Love is the courage of the good girl making all the mistakes with you and having no regrets at all. Taking the wrong directions and still finding home within. It is a nice breeze on a chilly morning. Open the window and let it flow on your skin while everyone else is asleep. Love is shameless. Love is audacious. It will break you into small pieces and you'll say it's okay. You'll jump into the ocean without wondering if you can swim. Love frees you from all the rules. It will make you meet yourself for the first time. You hear my accent, right? Love has no accent in a language you have never spoken before. It is seni seviyorum, seni seviyorum, seni seviyorum. Love is finding inspiration in everything. Suddenly pouring into the paper on the bus heading from upstate to the city an hour before, reading it out loud to the people you have never met before. Love is the first sip of a cold water after a long walk under the sun. But people warn you, don't drink it right away. You might get a cold. If you have ever loved someone, you know what I'm talking about. I hope you did. I hope you will. And if you have ever experienced mutual love, please tell me more. I have no idea about it. What are the possibilities of car A catching car B in no time and space? Thank you.
All right, that guy. Get up, girls. Welcome to Muslim Rights
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I don't know if can everybody hear me? Oh, it's good anyway. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed Mustafa. Everyone here assumes that I'm born Muslim, and you're right. But I was an atheist for 14 years and I became a Buddhist where I meditated for thousands of hours, which led me to finding the beauty, the wisdom of our Creator. And this poem has to do with love. And I always say loving the wrong thing will lead to pain, and loving the right thing will make you find peace. So this poem is dedicated to loving the right thing, and it's called The One Who Owns My Heart. At first, you gave me a gift that I thought had no value. Looked you in the face and I said, I don't believe in what I don't see. Because I didn't know my place of where I should be. Walked on this earth head high and ignored what was inside. Lost in a world I could not grasp, thinking I could grasp what was bigger than me. But then you showed me my place, with my head at your feet, asking you, the one that made me in this world, to forgive me my ignorance and pride. This destroyed me. And once again you rebuilt me, because you saw something in me that I failed to see. That you, Allah, loved me so much, and you still guided me. And this hope you gave me of a Rabb so forgiving and loving is the reason I want to change. The reason I want to change this world for the better, so I could return to you singing, I hope I made you happy just like you made me, my one and only Rabb Allah. I've heard, subhanAllah, so many stories today of different people. But this love of loving Allah has taught me so many values. One is never cry over what you missed because it wasn't meant to be yours to begin with. Never put junk in your hearts because it will only make you feel empty and lost on the inside. Empty and lost on the inside. Love Him and you will see the decree and the wisdom of everything that happens in your life. Love Him and you will see the power of life and the power of death, because death becomes the barrier of reuniting with your lover. Shouldn't we love the one who created love? The very thing that you love beside Him becomes your source of agony. So why do you love the things that bring you pain instead of the loving the one that brings you peace? The one who owns my heart. I have other poems if you guys want to share them, less about love and more about, inshallah, awakening, what I call awakening the eyes of the soul. And this one is not as judgmental as it may sound, but more of a loving advice for a brother to his sister. From A+ to an F is the name. She got mad they aren't in love no more. When they first met, he saw this beautiful thing, eyebrows done, well-dressed, looking A+. And as time progressed, he got to know the woman behind this dress. And look and behold, that A+ became an F. Too busy worrying about glass appearance, and glass is only good for appearance. And as time progressed, the glass broke and he saw the real you, depressed, trying to fit in, lost in herself, just an F. Sister, have a little more respect, for if you don't respect yourself, how do you expect others to? Sister, make a man love you for you, but first realize that it starts with you. Don't blame others for the pain that you brought to yourself, all because we misunderstand respect of the self. I think we'll end with today. Thank you.